has temporarily stopped making quarter pounders. Several other fast food chains, including Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC, and Burger King, have pulled onions from some of their menu items as well.
That's Fox's Jack Callahan. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The third and final round. Some sunshine poking through on Monument Circle. Spotty showers lingering, though. It's 55. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:02. The candidates for governor debating for the last time on Thursday. One issue discussed, as you might expect, property taxes.
So my plan clearly put a lid on the bill to where it can't go up more than 3% for everyone, 2% for vulnerable property taxpayers.
Republican Mike Braun, Democrat Jennifer McCormick, again saying public money should stay with public schools.
I'm about making sure all kids have access to a world-class education.
Election Day, November 5th. Inconsistencies with the defendant. Donnie Burgess reports on day 6 of the Delphi murders trial.
Suspect Richard Allen told investigators in 2017 he was on the trails between 1:30 and 3:30. But when re-interviewed in 2022, Allen said he was there no later than 2 o'clock. The state says Abigail Williams and Liberty German were being killed sometime after 2:13 p.m. When asked if he was Bridge Guy, Allen said in 2022 that if the picture of Bridge Guy is on Libby's phone, there's no way it's him. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A man arrested for a shooting that happened Thursday near the Purdue campus in West Lafayette. Police found a person shot in a parking lot where they say an argument between they and Dontre Alexander happened. Alexander is now in the Tippecanoe County Jail. It was self-defense. That's the determination by prosecutors in Fort Wayne in the shooting death of a high school student at a house party last Saturday. Investigators say it was Willie Ivy III who pulled a gun and fired first before getting shot and killed by someone else. No charges will be filed. Several Colts players who were injured were back at practice on Thursday. Linebacker E.J. Speed among them.
I feel good. I'm ready to get back out there and play. After seeing all the guys, Shea Goo had a forced fumble, JC had a sack, Grant came out with 19. I'm just ready to get back with the guys and make my plays also.
Jonathan Taylor and DeForest Buckner were also a full go in practice. The Colts facing Houston on Sunday. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
Yeah, Kurt, southbound 65 still closed at west. It will be for the rest of the month because of bridge maintenance work. And looking at northbound 65, we have a disabled vehicle on the right shoulder at West Street. It's coming right around the bend, so please watch out for that and move over if you can. Looking at northbound 65, it is slow out of the north split to Meridian Penn. Crash 30th at Kessler Boulevard. Crash Allisonville Road at 79th. And a crash Meridian Street at 96th. Traffic sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. Questions about youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCAA National nonprofit organization develops better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. Info at positivecoach.org. I'm Matt Baer with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
When you have a fire emergency, you need a restoration company you can trust to put everything back together. Pat Sullivan here for the Michaelis Corporation. I know. I've relied on Michaelis after a fire at my home. I'm here with the owner, Richard Michaelis. Richard, what makes Michaelis the right call if you have a fire?
Michaelis is local and family owned. We are your neighbors, 39 years of experience, and we'll respond 24/7, 365. The Michaelis Corporation is IICRC certified. We will restore your home or business to pre-loss condition or better.
I've lived it. Michaelis was on the scene at my home before the firefighters had even rolled up their hoses. They asked me about calling a restoration company. I told them I had Michaelis. They told me Michaelis was the real deal. You help with insurance, too?
Yes, we'll work through the insurance process to give you peace of mind.
Water, storms, fire, and mold. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIXED-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Reinhardt Heating and Cooling, your American Standard air dealer in Hendricks County.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mostly cloudy skies today with a few pockets of showers from time to time. Today's high, 72, partly cloudy, quiet, and cooler overnight, a low of 44. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
Morning showers moving out. It's partly cloudy, 55 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, October 25th. It is 7 minutes after 9. It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. My name is Casey Daniels. Rob Kendall has the day off, and in the studio, Brad Kloppenstein is joining me. Hey, Brad, how are you?
Casey, I am excited to be here. I'm as excited as a contestant on The Price is Right today.
You know what? We haven't worked together in quite a while because it's just been really easy for me to just nudge the dude at home and say, hey, can you go to work with me? But he's been falling behind on his own job, his real job. And I said, no, you need to stay home and make money. We're going to have Brad come in today. So thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. I like it. So I'm not the dude. I'm just one of the dudes.
You're just one of the dudes. So let's share some lighthearted stories that will make people laugh today.
I like it. It's Friday. That's what it's about. I mean, we could do our own beer sample Friday if you wanted.
Except you didn't bring the beer in.
I forgot. There's time. There's time during a news break. I can go get some.
Go run and grab. I'm sure there's some in Hammer and Nigel's refrigerator. I'm kidding. We're going to talk about the election.
What? There's one of those coming up?
Have you heard? There's something going on.
I guess I better start paying attention.
Okay, I don't know if you ever pay any attention to anything CNBC says or does anymore, but they put out this all-American economic survey, and it indicated that it was a very tight presidential race between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. They've got it.
I'm shocked by this assertion.
Yeah, 48% for Donald Trump, 46% for Kamala Harris, and in the battleground states, they've got it at 48 to 47. Now, this is within their margin of error, which they say is 3%. Are we believing this at all? Rob asked this question earlier in the week. If you're on one side, for example, if you're a Trump supporter, are you believing all the hype that he is surging and he's going to run away with this, or are you stuck in the echo chamber?
I think that largely those people are stuck in the echo chamber. They believe he's going to win. However, the proof is that Donald Trump typically underpolls. So if they've got him ahead by 1 now, that actual number, at least 4 years ago, would have been up 4.
Yes. So if you look at the trend of the last time he ran, this is really good news for him that he's up now.
Right, and especially in those battleground states.
Now, the other thing that this survey said was that economic issues, especially inflation, remain the top priority for voters. And when it comes to Donald Trump, he has a significant lead among everybody voting on this issue. And their survey said that he's sitting at 42% to Kamala Harris's 24% in how they would handle it. And voters believe they'd be better off financially under Trump.
I tend to believe that as well, just because big government costs money, and that costs you money, costs me money, or it costs the future me and you money, and that tends to be where the Democrats are coming from. Of we're going to spend all money on all things, and we're just going to pay for it later. Whereas Donald Trump, at least, is a businessman. Now, I'm not a big conspiratorialist, but I did notice gas was down to $2.73 on my way in this morning. It's like,
You think the timing of that is suspect, do you?
I do. I do. Well, like I say, I don't know. We'll get into some other things that that don't just happen in a vacuum, but I don't think gas prices going down right before an election happens in a vacuum either.
Well, according to this CNBC poll, they also show that Donald Trump is viewed more favorably than Kamala Harris.
Looking at this next thing here in terms of favorability, Harris has lost all her post-convention bounce. She went from +3 in the September NBC poll to -10 back where she was in our August survey. That's a sign Trump has been landing blows on her image, and maybe perhaps she's been doing it to herself as well. Trump maintains his -13 to -6. He was -13 in August, too, so he's improved his favorability.
Okay, so people like him now. He's never been more popular. I've seen it in action. And how is it that Kamala can go from being the least liked vice president to, oh, everyone loves her now? Maybe, just maybe, that part of the CNBC poll is true.
It is true. It always happens. There's always a post-convention bump for whoever the candidate is. Trump had his, especially when he got shot in the ear. And then even after the Republican convention, he got a bump. But then when the Democrats reversed course, Kamala was the unknown entity. So whenever they do polling, sometimes they will poll and say Donald Trump versus unnamed Democrat. And the unnamed Democrat always does far better than the named Democrat. And it's because once you put a name to them, then you can start picking them apart. And in the case of Kamala Harris, she was great when you didn't know a lot about her and you didn't have to hear her speak a lot. Now that you're hearing her speak a lot, I think there's a lot of people going, oh,
wait a minute.
There's not a lot of substance here.
Yeah, what's going on? Donald Trump did something at one of his rallies. I believe this was last night, and he had a little kid on stage with him, and the little kid was dressed up like Donald Trump. And when he does stuff like this, that's when I think people fall more in love with him. It humanizes him.
What's your name?
Name.
Now, he's supposed to look like Donald Trump, but he's actually much too good looking. You are really handsome. Are you having a good time tonight?
Night.
Where's your daddy? And your mommy, right? Do you want to go back? Do you want to go back to them, or do you want to stay with Donald Trump?
Trump.
Obviously, the crowd loved that one. So let's talk about early voting. The latest stats are out. We've got 4,841,434 registered voters in the great state of Indiana.
Is that a give or take?
No, I think that's down to it. And out of those people, 523,706 have voted so far. So we're sitting at 11%. Now, if you look back in 2020 during the general election, we had a 61% turnout. And it looks like the state of Indiana is trending above the 2020 election.
Well, that's good because we typically finish dead last in voter turnout or next to last. So good. Maybe we're starting to care. Good way to go, Hoosiers.
Yep.
Good job. Pat yourself on the back.
You think we can get up to 65?
Oh,
70,
come on. That's just crazy talk,
75%?
Casey.
Yeah. Diego Morales said that there is a strong early turnout across the state. More than 500,000 Hoosiers already casting their ballots. So there's been some whisperings from the Trump campaign. He started this, I believe, yesterday, considering ending all federal income taxes and replacing them with tariffs. Can you imagine if he were to do that? I mean, he would go down in history as one of the greatest presidents ever. But we do have to consider, is this just campaign fodder?
Well, of course it's campaign fodder, although I wish you would say we're going to get rid of all income taxes. And then not follow it up with nothing.
With the tariffs?
And we're also, and also we're going to cut government at the same rate, same amount. So I'm still waiting for that candidate to say, yes, we're going to cut income taxes. We're going to cut property taxes, and we are going to cut government accordingly and replace that tax with nothing.
Well, here he is talking about eliminating the federal income tax, and this was when he was in New York. He was at that barber shop in the Bronx.
With all this extra revenue we're going to be bringing into the country. So do you believe at some point in time we could find a way, once the country's back on its feet and getting enough revenue and paid off our debt, do you think it's possible to find a way to eliminate federal taxes?
There is a way.
And how do you feel about it?
You know, in the old days, when we were smart, when we were a smart country, in the 1890s and all, this is when the country was relatively the richest it ever was. It had all tariffs. It didn't have an income tax.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Now we have income taxes, and we have people that are dying. They're paying tax, and they don't have the money to pay the tax. No, in the old days, 1890, 1880, we had so much money, they had to set up committees, blue ribbon committees, how to spend our wealth. We had no idea how to spend it with so much money. Then we went to the income tax system, and the rest is sort of history. But no, there is a way. I mean, if we If what I'm planning comes out, it's a great question, by the way.
Everyone could
You're
attain
a
the
pretty
American
sophisticated cat, you know.
Everyone could attain the American dream if it wasn't for the high cost, the burden of high taxes, and we're taxed at every step of the way.
Yeah.
When we make it, when
And
we spend
regulations. And regulations. So I cut more regulations in 4 years than any other president by 4 times.
Okay, so he can't have it both ways, right? You can't have zero income taxes and then only use tariffs as a threat, which is what he was trying. It sounded like that's what he was going for, like all of these 200% tariffs. That's just a threat that he was going to use. So is he serious on the tariffs, or is he serious on 0% income tax?
So let's break all this down. First, do you think that Trump let this guy really cut his hair?
No. No, I don't think so.
Either.
Not at all.
So that was my first thought. But then my second thought is you have to look at how you collect taxes. Income is not necessarily wealth. So if you're getting rid of an income tax, then you have to replace it. He's saying replacing it with tariffs, but then he also said, well, people are dying, they can't pay their taxes. In theory, if somebody's on Social Security, they should not really be paying any income tax anyhow. So that is a misnomer that he's put out there. And the big question is, and one of the reasons that they went to also a property tax system and a sales tax system is, one of the few ways that you can actually tax wealth. So when they're talking about the rich don't pay their fair share, sometimes they don't, because if you've got wealth but it's not income, it's hard to tax that. Yeah. So there's a whole lot that goes into this. Although imagine if he did do this, if we got rid of income taxes, in theory, you could cut most of the IRS. Imagine how much money the federal government could save just by not paying IRS agents.
It would be quite a stimulus package, wouldn't it?
It would be you could either assign that money elsewhere in the government, or heaven forbid, that could cut people's taxes as well.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
Sadly, people don't carry cash anymore.
I don't carry cash. No. It's better, especially if you live in a metropolitan area, that you don't have to carry cash.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Well, men carry cash, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, stop it.
So how much cash do you have on you right now?
Nothing. None. No. Don't need it. I'm digital, man. I'm digital. Man.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
As summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-494-5004 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-494-5004. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code EASY, or text EASY to 511-511 and claim 40% off. Roundhouseprovisions.com, code EASY.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text EASY to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves. But don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at lifelock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Franklin. The best dealers in the region. Hundreds of tables. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Franklin. For more info, visit centralindianagunshows.com.
JMV here. Miss M's Home and Garden has everything you need to finish fall outright. Come find the best fall selection of nursery stock in Johnson County and save when you buy. Miss M's has 30 to 50% off trees and shrubs. That's right, all trees and shrubs at least 30% off. Enjoying all the fall colors around your area. Add them to your landscape now for color this fall and next season as well. Miss M's located on State Road 135 south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
This is Danny Reinhardt with Reinhardt Heating and Cooling. Give us a call for any of your heating and cooling needs. We're here to serve you. 317-745-4526.
Reinhardt is your trusted local independent American Standard Air dealer.
I can't believe they're back in the news after all this time. Eric and Lyle Menendez. So prosecutors recommending resentencing of their 1989 killing of their parents. You said you watched the thing on Netflix.
Netflix had a miniseries, I believe it's called Monsters, and it was like 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So, yeah, I think me and my wife knocked that out over the course of like a week.
Yeah, do some binge watching there.
We did. So, yeah, it was interesting how it was presented. I know the Menendez brothers, through whoever their spokespeople are, which, by the way, do you find it fascinating that both of them found girlfriends and got married while they've been in prison?
Well, there's women that are into that sort of thing.
Why are they into that sort of thing?
Well, you know they're not going to pop in on you at any time.
Well,
right?
that's true.
Yeah. So could they go free?
Oh, no. Well, I mean, I guess it's California. Anything possibly could happen. They pretty clearly killed their parents, and whatever the reasons are, they were pretty brazen about it. And then just the way they handled themselves afterwards was ridiculous and fascinating all at the same time. It's definitely a Southern California type of thing.
Well, the LADA is recommending that they be eligible for parole after serving 3 decades in prison since the 1989 murder of their parents.
I have to tell you unequivocally that we don't have a universal agreement. There are people in the office that strongly believe that the Menendez brothers should stay in prison the rest of their life, and they do not believe that they were molested. And there are people in the office that strongly believe that they should be released immediately and that they were in fact molested. I have to tell you that after a very careful review of all the arguments that were made for people on both sides of this equation, I came to a place where I believe that under the law, resentencing is appropriate, and I am going to recommend that to a court tomorrow. What that means in this particular case is that we're going to recommend to the court that the life without the possibility of parole be removed and that they will be sentenced for murder, which, because there are 2 murders involved, that will be 50 years to life. However, because of their age, under the law, since they were under 26 years of age at the time that these crimes occurred, they will be eligible for parole immediately.
So there you have it.
Wow.
Yeah. Because they were under 26 when they murdered their parents.
Right. Planned to murder their parents, drove around to several different gun shops before they finally acquired a couple shotguns down around San Diego.
I mean, do you remember that trial? You're old enough to remember that trial.
They are roughly our age.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember when that was happening. I did not remember all the specifics, and some of it was I just was not as tuned in at the time. I know I heard a lot about it, but then, and so I'm looking at this through the lens of the Netflix series because that was my refresher on all this.
And now they're coming out after all of these years with some new evidence that proves they were molested, which is what they always claimed the whole time.
Yes.
I remember it being a lot about money.
Oh, that
they wanted
blew
their
through
parents'
lots
money.
of money. Yes.
Yeah.
So because their father was a record producer exec, and I mean they had somewhat unlimited funds, and so after their parents were killed, and there was a 9-month or year window in there when they were looking for the killers, and the Menendez brothers were just spending through the record company's money, basically.
And they've been saying this since 1996. They haven't gotten off this story since 1996 because, the internet is forever, Brad.
Right, internet started in 1996, so that's where time begins.
Here's a flashback to that year. They had an interview with Barbara Walters, and they were claiming back then that they were acting in self-defense.
I killed my parents, and I spent 6 months out there in horrible agony because I had done this. I mean, a year before, I told my mother how much I loved her. I could not have imagined doing this even a week before to her. I adored her. And then suddenly you're arrested, and everyone can know you did it, and you can finally tell people, and it's a relief.
Lyle, you're looking at your brother like you almost never heard this before. Tell me how you felt.
For me, emotionally being in prison conditions was really not, emotionally was not a shocking difference from the life we had lived, because we lived really a very stressful, fearful life. And to me, it was kind of like I felt I should be punished. And it didn't feel good, but there was a part of you that feels like that's right. It's better.
So regardless of the truth of if the father was abusing them or not, they killed their mother as well.
They did. Well,
who they said they loved.
Yeah, so at least in the miniseries, they allege that the mother got killed because, one, they didn't want their mother to have to live with knowing that they'd killed their father, and two, it was kind of alleged that the mother knew all about the molestations all along and did nothing to stop it.
So a lot of their supporters and some of their family members believe that if they were to be tried today, they would have received a lighter sentence than what they got back then. They were 21 and 18 at the time, and so far they've served 34 years in prison. Okay, coming up, we're going to speak with Chase Oliver.
Chase Oliver, the Libertarian candidate for President of the United States.
That's on the way next from 93 WIBC.
Jennifer McCormick couldn't name a single thing she disagreed with Hillary Clinton on. That's because, just like Hillary, McCormick backed failed liberal policies. She endorsed Bidenomics, said she'd be honored to serve in Biden's administration. She opposed school choice, and she even supports biological boys playing girls' sports.
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
I did vote for Hillary Clinton. She had some great, world foreign policy experience. So, I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
It gets worse. Here's what Jennifer McCormick says about Donald Trump.
I cannot get behind that. Never voted for Trump, never will vote for Trump, never was behind Trump, never will be behind Trump. I just cannot get behind a party who is behind that type of leadership. To me, it's nonsensical.
Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Deadlocked again. Radar's clear, mostly cloudy, 56 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. The election seems to be a dead heat. Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
Former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris are tied at 48% for the popular vote in the final New York Times Siena College national poll of this campaign cycle. This comes as a recent Fox News poll shows former President Trump leading 50 to 48% nationally, a flip from last month South, where Harris was leading by the same margin. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
New rules by the Biden administration could offer student debt relief to about 8 million borrowers. New rules were announced today that would provide debt relief to students experiencing hardship as defined by the Department of Education. The proposed rules could also offer relief to students who have been paying down student loans for a long time. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. Well, after a topsy-turvy week, stocks are stabilizing today. The Dow was up 146 to 42,751. The NASDAQ up 117 to 20,497. And the S&P 500 is up 23 to 5,872. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Fall in Indy, and if you hate the paint, do what Judy did. She called Rhino Shield.
After having the house painted with kind of usual house paint, I was seeing cracks appearing about every 3 years and just wasn't very satisfied with that.
Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating specifically formulated for our unique climate.
I can't speak highly enough about the Rhino Shield crew. They also were great at working with me to get the exact right color because I was very particular.
Now get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield is partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer no payments until 2026 for qualified buyers.
I would not hesitate to call Rhino Shield and recommend Rhino Shield to my friends and neighbors and family.
Here's Rhino Shield Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
It's a harsh fact of life, but failure is inevitable.
You can work harder than you ever thought possible and still lose.
Sometimes, someone else is simply better than you.
While life teaches us that we will sometimes lose, education-based athletics teach us how to deal with those losses in a mentally healthy way. I'm Bella Miller-Krieger from University High School.
And I'm Charlie Hosnow from Forest Park High School. With our coaches and teammates supporting us, student-athletes learn how to move past the letdown and focus on the next point, the next play, and the next game.
We learn that negative energy is wasted energy, and that no matter how many times we fall short, as long as we are learning and never give up, we'll ultimately win.
I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty. Be a champion of high school sports and the resiliency they build by buying a ticket to your high school's athletic events. This is overcoming adversity. This is developing mental toughness. This is your IHSAA.
Hey, diamond lovers. Shane Company knows fine jewelry. That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. When it's this important, you want someone who knows exactly how to work with your budget. Not against it. Someone who knows you deserve a piece more beautiful than you've ever imagined. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've always sourced our diamonds and gemstones directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. So many in stock and ready to take home today. Create your dream engagement ring in 3 easy steps. Or pick a perfectly preset ring that's created by our in-house design team. Browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts for everyone in your life, from diamond and gemstone studs to must-have tennis bracelets and beautiful birthstone necklaces. With our everyday competitive prices and unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company is your go-to destination for fine jewelry. Visit shaneco.com and come in to see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Hey folks, Hunter Smith here. I spent every fall from my childhood until my days in the NFL on the gridiron. Football gave me the chance to attend Notre Dame and go on to win a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts. Football also taught me life lessons about hard work and toughness. This fall looks a little different. I'm not on the field. I'm running to represent you at the State House, and I'm taking hits from opponents. Hits meant to mislead you about my values and priorities. I'm tough enough to take it, and I trust voters are smart enough to know the truth.
Hunter Smith is a husband, father, and local business owner of Wonder Tree Farm. At the State House, Hunter will work to lower property taxes without impacting priorities like public safety. The Indiana State Police Alliance and Fraternal Order of Police endorse Hunter Smith, and Hunter will always empower parents to choose the best education for their kids. Vote Hunter Smith for state representative.
Paid for by Hunter Smith for Indiana.
The Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. My name is Casey Daniels. Rob Kendall has the day off, and Brad Kloppenstein is in the studio. And Brad, you set up this interview, and I have to tell you, I'm wondering if he feels a little bit like Shawshank Redemption. Are you familiar with that movie?
I'm very familiar with Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, so Chase Oliver is on the WIBC hotline, and he is running for president of the United States. And the reason I bring up Shawshank Redemption is because that movie was released the same weekend as Forrest Gump and Pulp Fiction. And it really got creamed in the movie theater and became much more popular after it was released. And Chase, I'm just going to start off there. You're running for president the same year as Donald Trump. Do you feel a little bit like Shawshank Redemption in that regards?
Well, I think right now what we're trying to do is grow our party and grow our idea as much as possible. And I think if you want to compare us to that's probably the top 10 movies according to critics. So if you want to compare me and my platform to Shawshank Redemption, that's great. And I'll take that as a compliment.
Okay. Well, tell us about your platform. You're running under the Libertarian ticket. So what do you stand for?
Well, first and foremost, I stand for fiscal sanity, which is something we're not getting out of the Republicans or the Democrats anymore. I want to balance our federal budget so we can stop the greatest driver of inflation out there, which is printing trillions of dollars a year out of thin air when we run huge record deficits year over year. That's why you're feeling the pinch of inflation in your wallet. But beyond that, we're running on the rooted libertarian platform that's rooted in non-aggression and keeping the state out of your life if you're a peaceful individual and you're not harming anyone's civil liberties. And I think that is attractive to many voters who are just tired of seeing state intervention in their life one way or another from Democrats or Republicans.
So, Chase Oliver, obviously immigration has been a big issue in this election cycle. Where are you on immigration?
Well, first and foremost, I see the value in immigrants. I see that they create jobs, they create economic activity, and we need to create a better process to bring people in here with legal documentation to work. So I support the 21st Century Ellis Island that streamlines our process, that allows people to come through a port of entry, declare who they are with a quick background check and medical check, and bring them into this country, because that would have that proverbial 99% of people who just want to come here and work doing that through legal channels, and then we could focus our law enforcement on that smaller section of the immigrant population that would be human trafficking or doing other things that we need to address with law enforcement.
So where would you land on the illegals that are currently here? Are you more towards amnesty or more towards deportation?
Well, I think deportation would be highly expensive. It would cost trillions of dollars to run a national deportation program, and then just the civil liberties implications would be mighty high. And so I support allowing these people who are already here to go and get some sort of legal status so that we can know who's here, we can know what's going on, and have a better idea of what's going on. And this would also bring the entire immigrant community out of the shadows and stop driving down wages, because with legal documentation, you're no longer being exploited for your labor.
So obviously that's going to take money. Where do you come up with the funds to do this? Or is this just one of those important things that needs to be done?
Well, again, first you can cut a lot of redundant government. Over half the Pentagon can be cut, and we would still be the most powerful fighting force in the world. We'd still be the most military capable force in the world. We would just not have all that waste, fraud, and abuse and redundancy at the DOD. So there's lots of areas of government we can cut. And, of course, this immigration process, the 21st Century Ellis Island, would be much less costly than, say, a national deportation program, which estimates have shown would cost trillions.
So it sounds kind of like a tall fence, wide gate kind of plan, if I'm summarizing for you. How do you secure the border and then funnel people into the Ellis Islands that you're proposing?
Well, I think if we streamline the process, more people would enter into it. I think the reason why so many people sidestep the legal immigration process right now is because it is so costly, time-consuming, and confusing for a lot of people. And so if we streamline the process, more and more people would use those legal means. They would come through ports of entry if they knew we were welcoming to them, as opposed to sidestepping the program altogether. When you do that, you are leaving the border basically, Border Patrol and other law enforcement available to crack down on those who would still sidestep that program. The only reason you would sidestep an ease of immigration, the only reason you would do that is because you're not interested in really coming here to work. You're interested in coming here via bringing people into human trafficking and bringing other things into the country that, they don't want legitimate people, legitimate authorities to see. And so we have to separate the forest from the trees. We have to separate those hardworking immigrants who just want to come here to work from those who want to come here and exploit the United States.
Cool. We're talking to Chase Oliver, Libertarian candidate for President of the United States. So, Chase, let me shift gears a little bit. Let me ask you, why should people vote for you and other Libertarian candidates? What makes you different, and why wouldn't they vote for a Republican or Democrat?
Well, I think definitely what makes me different is I'm the only true free market candidate on the ballot. I don't believe in economic protectionism, tariffs, price controls like Kamala Harris is now talking about. So these are, if you support the idea of the free market and the ability of capitalism to actually produce wealth, I'm somebody who wants to get government out of the way of that and actually see our free market hum that economic engine firing on all cylinders. And so that's not something you're getting out of the Democrats or Republicans. I think another big difference is the generational difference. I'm the first millennial to ever run for president across the United States, and I'm a regular working person, somebody who's actually had to, go to work 40 hours a week, who's had to make the paycheck stretch from paycheck to paycheck. And I feel the pinch of inflation just as much as the average American does. And so not being separated from our economy gives me insight that I think neither the Republican or Democratic candidate currently have at this point.
Chase, you mentioned that you're the youngest candidate, and if I'm correct, I believe you're 39 years old. What do you say to people who kind of question maybe your experience level?
Well, I think it's time for my generation to really start rising up and stepping up. Millennials are hardworking people. We're homeowners. We're family. We're creating families across this country. We are the average American at this point. And, to me, it's ridiculous that millennials haven't started rising up earlier. But that's just indicative of the fact that the same people who are in charge of the Washington, D.C. establishment are the same people who were in charge of it 20 years ago when I was just getting out of high school. And I think it speaks to this kind of arrested development of our Congress that we never had the true changeover that we need to have. And I think it's high time that younger people, millennials and Gen Z, rise up to let their opinions be known, because we're going to be the primary working force in the economy over the next decade or two as baby boomers and then later Gen Xers start to retire. And so we need to start knowing we need to start getting in positions of power now so we can think long term. It's not about 2 years or 4 years. It's about what can we do for the next 20 or 40 years to keep our economy prosperous and powerful.
Okay, and speaking of economy, I believe it was just last night, Donald Trump came out with whispers of getting rid of the income tax. And I'm wondering, what is your approach to tax reform, especially when it comes to funding the federal government?
Well, we would like to see taxes reduced as much as possible, and I would love a zero-income tax world, but to do that, we'd have to have massive government cuts. If you cut taxes without cutting the corresponding spending, you're creating inflation in the back end through debts and deficits. And so I understand he's putting whispers out there to try to make people go, oh, Donald Trump's going to cut the income tax to zero. The fact is if he's not offering a real proposal to cut spending way down, there's no way you're ever going to get that out of the Congress, and that's just him trying to earn votes using ideas that libertarians have had for a long time, which is the idea that taxation is theft and that we need to remove it from our lives as much as possible. Now, I would get rid of as many carve-outs, deductions, giveaways, and flatten the tax code overall so that we're actually having a tax code at the corporate level that's competitive and allows us to create more jobs. And on the income level, it gets the government out of our pocketbook as much as possible.
So, Chase Oliver, how do you answer this question? I've heard from a lot of people in the electorate who said, how come with all, we've got 350 million people in America, how is it that we can't find one decent candidate who's well-spoken, good-looking, and under the age of 70? You seem to be that guy, but then nobody, or I'm not going to say nobody, but you seem to have a hard time getting traction. How do you answer that question?
Well, I think it's the nature of our political binary that's created by this false two-party system that we have, and it's been rigged for that way. They have taxpayer. The Republicans and Democrats have taxpayer-funded primaries. They get all the extra media attention because of this. My taxes are used to pay for their primaries. The fact that ballot access is something that we have to fight for each and every election cycle, spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get ballot access in states. when Democrats and Republicans have the automatic access. So this false political binary that's been created by the two-party system needs to be torn down. It's why I support the Voter Bill of Rights. It's on my platform, on my website. It's full of a lot of great reforms we can do to bring more choices and more voices into the discussion and to broaden out our election to really represent the broad spectrum of the voters and hopefully bring more voters out. 1 in 3 voters don't even vote for president because they just don't feel like there's a choice that represents them. We need to do a better job of providing more choices so more voters come out.
Are you on the ballot in all 50 states?
I'm on the ballot in 47 states. In the remaining 3, I'm a certified write-in candidate. So whether you have to write my name on the ballot or you see my name on the ballot, you can vote for me all over the country. In the vast majority, 47 states out of 50, you'll just see my name printed on the ballot.
And his name is Chase Oliver, and he's running for president of the United States under the Libertarian ticket. Where can people find more information about you and your party?
Yeah, you can find more information about me at votechaseoliver.com. That's our campaign website. You can learn all about our platform and what we're running on. And then if you want to learn more about the Libertarian Party, go to lp.org. I encourage you to join the Libertarian Party. And if you're out there in Indiana, Libertarian Party of Indiana is a fantastic state affiliate. I encourage any Hoosiers who want to get involved to join the Libertarian Party of Indiana.
Well, we appreciate your time this morning, and good luck with everything.
Hey, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Beer Sample Friday on the Hammer and Nigel Show, 3:06. Senator Mike Braun scheduled to join us in studio. He'll recap the debate. Donnie Burgess, Guy Relford breaking down Delphi. We'll talk to you this afternoon.
Hey, Bill, where you been? You're overdue for a haircut.
Man, listen, my water pipes burst and flooded my house. Place a mess. I've been staying with my daughter till I can figure out what to do.
You trying to fix it and move back in?
No way. It's too big a mess. It'll cost me tens of thousands of dollars. I ain't got that kind of money.
You trying to sell it then?
Well, that's what I'd like to do, but who's going to buy my house in this condition?
Did you call Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters bought our house when we were in a jam. We needed to move real quick. They closed fast and gave us cash.
Simple Quarters will buy in any condition?
That's right. They buy as is. You don't have to repair anything or clean anything out. It's simple.
What do I have to do?
Just call them. They'll do a quick walkthrough, then they'll make you an offer.
Simple Quarters is a local Christian company that loves to help people in difficult situations. Call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME. Check us out at simplequarters.com.
Get ready to shake it off before the big show. Get your tickets to the Fearless Karaoke Brunch Fest at Nevermore Downtown on November 2nd and 3rd from 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. with a themed buffet, bottomless cocktails, and endless fun. Sing your heart out with karaoke. Create friendship bracelets and compete in our costume contest. Tickets start at $40 for the buffet or upgrade to the boozy brunch for $75, including unlimited mimosas, sangria, and Bloody Marys. All ages welcome. Tickets at swiftbrunchfest.com.
Get in gear with fall savings at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get a brand new 2024 Navigator. Get an incredible $10,000 off plus 0% for 60 months. Or get $7,000 off select new 2024 Lincoln Aviators plus 0% for 60 months. So get some of those fall savings at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24412. MSRP 104,200. Stock number L24208. MSRP 75,300. See dealer for complete details.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves. But don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra is making its way back to Gamebridge Fieldhouse on December 19th with an all-new show, The Lost Christmas Eve Tour. For tickets and more information, head to WIBC.com.
He just can't help himself. He is what he is. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC. Brett Kloppenstein is in for Rob Kendall today. So let's talk about Bill Clinton and what he said. He was in Arizona, and he was stumping for Ruben Gallego, who's trying to succeed Kyrsten Sinema in the Senate race. Of course, Kari Lake is running there as well. And Bill Clinton, he was comparing and contrasting the two candidates, and he said that Kari Lake was attractive. Let's take a listen.
I thought, this is like a beautiful microcosm of the campaign that Kamala Harris is running for president. You got a person that grew up under sometimes challenging circumstances, who made something of his life running against someone who is physically attractive but believes that politics is a performance art. And where, like J.D. Vance, she has to be prostrate before the master.
Well, Casey, I was always an hands-on type of president, and I could have used somebody like a Kari Lake on my staff.
Mm-hmm. So he described her as physically attractive. Think about this is what happened. At the same time, he's in Arizona, and he's stumping for this Democrat, and he's calling the Democrats' competition, Kari Lake, physically attractive. At the same time, his wife, Hillary, is being a talking head. I think she was on CNN or MSNBC. I don't know which one it was, calling Trump fascist and Hitler. So Bill Clinton cannot help himself, right?
No.
He gets away from her for a minute, and just like a minute. And he's like, "Hey, Kari Lake, how you doing? How you doing?
I see you."
So Kari Lake came out and she said that, as a middle-aged woman, she's flattered, but she thought she was a little too old for him.
Oh,
yeah. And she said, doesn't he like interns? Yeah. Of course, always bringing it back to Monica Lewinsky with Bill Clinton.
Well, yeah, that's kind of that was the one of the things he was noted for in his presidency. But think about it, he is 78 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time to stop hitting on chicks, Bill.
He can't help himself. He is who he is. Kari Lake, of course, a former television broadcaster. So, yes, her appearance, I mean, she seems like she's very put together. But the thing that I appreciate the most about her is just her confidence when she speaks. And I don't know if that's what Bill Clinton is finding attractive.
Reminds me a lot of you, Casey.
Oh, that's nice. Did you see this story about the elephants in Colorado?
I didn't until you shared it with me.
Okay, so there's these elephants, and they've been part of the elephant exhibit at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo for many years. And now there's this animal rights group that is trying to get them released, saying they're being held against their will. They're in prison. And now a court in Colorado is going to hear the arguments about whether they should be legally able to challenge their captivity. So they're going to determine if the elephants can speak for themselves like a human.
Now, will this be in an elephant court?
It's going to happen in a real court. But the real reason I wanted to do this story is because of this next audio clip. Do all elephant stories remind you of this movie scene?
Now, how long have you had these pains, Mr. Barber?
No, that's Babar.
2 B's?
1 B. B-A-B-A-R.
That's 2.
Yeah, but not right next to each other. I thought that's what you meant.
Arnold Babar. Isn't there a children's book about an elephant named Babar?
I don't know. I don't have any.
No children?
No elephant books.
No elephant books. So it got me thinking about Chevy Chase. How old do you think he is?
Probably about 78.
Higher, Bob.
Is it 80 now? Is he
higher, Bob?
83?
He's 81.
Wow.
Yeah. And I guess back in 2021, he had a heart attack and lost a lot of memory from it. And he's pretty much just been kind of in rehabilitation at his home, keeping things very private since then.
Well, sadly, I think his career peaked at about Fletch. Well, maybe the vacation movies, but after that, I mean, the last several things he's done, he has been nothing but a parody of himself.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show. It is 93 WIBC.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick, she's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-9336. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-9336. 800-444-9336.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Franklin. The best dealers in the region. Hundreds of tables. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Franklin. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
Hi, this is John Schmitz. Are you frustrated with slow or no response from your elected officials? Your U.S. Congressman is one of those politicians that takes your vote for granted. Let's send a message to all politicians. If you don't meet us out in the neighborhoods, we will vote you out. You deserve better. I'll be there for you. I'm committed to work to preserve your freedoms. A vote for Schmitz will ensure less government interference and more control over your own life. I'm ready to work tirelessly for you. Visit johnschmitzforcongress.com and see how your vote can make a real difference. I'm John Schmitz. I approve this message, paid for by Schmitz for Indiana.
So this new dose is, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Donnie Burgess recaps last night's debate among the candidates for governor, plus why you will be voting on a state constitutional amendment come November. And gas prices keep going down, where things stand as you head to the pump. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
A Texas two-step. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Both former President Trump and Vice President Harris are going there today, even though it's not considered a toss-up state. Fox's Jackie Heinrich is where Harris will be. Houston.
To spotlight the state's restrictive abortion rights in hopes of generating headlines to mobilize voters in states that will decide the election. States like Arizona and Nevada, where abortion's on the ballot. The campaign hopes tonight that people who are having their freedoms rolled back, in Harris's words, are going to make the case that another Trump presidency would go even further.
Now, Beyonce will join Harris on stage there the day after Bruce Springsteen and former President Obama made anti-Trump speeches at her rally in Georgia.
Just because he acts goofy does not mean his presidency wouldn't be dangerous.
Now, former President Trump keeps blaming Harris for record illegal immigration, making the U.S., as he calls it, a garbage can for the world.
She has unleashed an army of migrant gangs who are waging a campaign of violence.
That was in Arizona. Trump also rallied last night in Las Vegas, where Fox's Alexis McAdams, traveling with him, is just about to board a plane.
Heading straight to Austin, Texas. He's going to do that sit-down interview with Joe Rogan for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, hitting all different topics, and then we'll talk about border security.
Tonight, there will be a Trump rally in Michigan, another toss-up state where in-person early voting starts tomorrow. Nearly 31 million Americans have already voted. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met in London today with Lebanon's prime minister, as Fox's Matt Finn reports from Tel Aviv.
Hezbollah fired more rockets from Lebanon here into Israel, pretty much a daily occurrence here. And the IDF now says it has lost 10 soldiers in total killed in battle over the past 24 hours or so.
Israeli airstrikes targeting Hezbollah killed 3 journalists. The Wall Street Journal reports Russia has been helping other Iran-backed militants in Yemen, providing targeting data for the Houthis who've been attacking ships in the Red Sea region for months. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The last time they go head-to-head. It's partly cloudy and 57 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Each candidate for Indiana governor spent Thursday night debating the issues. Donnie Burgess reports they also took a chance to attack one another.
Get your facts straight before you say something like that.
I want to move on for the sake of time.
Healthcare.
So we're going
Republican Mike Braun and Democrat Jennifer McCormick took shots at each other for nearly the entire hour. Sometimes Libertarian Donald Rainwater jumped in, especially when Braun said he would listen to police and politicians when it comes to legal pot.
I didn't hear him say he'd listen to you. And that's a problem.
There are times where we're picking and choosing when we talk to local law enforcement. They are our law enforcement. We need to respect them and listen to them in all circumstances.
Each candidate did agree that political divisiveness should be toned down just a bit. You can make your choice November 5th. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Testimony resuming today in the Delphi murders trial, going on day 7 for day 6 yesterday. Witnesses who helped work on the investigation talked about how Richard Allen came to be as a suspect in the murders. One witness helping out with the organizing of files told the court when she came across Allen's file in 2022, it was labeled cleared. The state constitution says that the state superintendent for public instruction is one of the people in line of succession should the governor and lieutenant governor positions become vacant. Well, that's a problem at the moment since that position no longer exists.
The governor now appoints the superintendent or the secretary of education. And under the current law, under a remote circumstance, they could end up as our governor. That's just wrong.
State Rep Ed Delaney, who says voters will have to vote in November on a constitutional amendment to fix that. Gas keeps getting cheaper. $2.97 the average for unleaded in Indiana today, says GasBuddy.com. Taven Jackson, the starter at quarterback for IU tomorrow.
He's a guy that's extremely capable. I'm sure he'll rise to the occasion.
Head coach Kurt Signetti, the Hoosiers have Washington tomorrow at noon. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hi, I'm Kay Diener. 34 years ago, my husband Bill and I joined TAB after hearing about its community involvement,
service opportunities, and welcoming nature of the congregation. I have always liked volunteering and helping others, and at TAB, I've found many ways to do both. Over the years, I've had the privilege of serving as a deacon, an elder, a tutor, Sunday school helper, member of the Media and Children's Ministries committees, as well as other areas when able. In so doing, I have witnessed the caring hearts of others who selflessly share their love of Christ and TAB. I'm Kay Diener, and I invite you to come to TAB and see for yourself.
Tabernacle Presbyterian Church, 34th Street and Central Avenue in Indianapolis, invites you to worship Sunday morning at 8 or 10 a.m. If you can't make it in person, tune in to Sunday with Tab, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on WIBC, or find us online at tabpres.org.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Reinhardt Heating and Cooling, your American Standard air dealer in Hendricks County.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, October 25th. It's 5 minutes after 10. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, except that is not Rob Kendall. That is Brad Kloppenstein, who is in for Rob. He's got the day off today. So there was a big debate last night, governor's debate, and coming up at 10:30, Abdul is going to join us and give us his opinion on what happened on the TV. Did you watch it last night?
So I listened to the first half on WIBC, and then I watched the second half. So
big difference?
At least, so my opinion was the first half was kind of a sleeper, and the second half, things really ramped up. So I don't know if that was the difference in I was in the car on
listening versus watching.
Yeah, listening versus watching. But I thought that they started scoring a lot more blows in the second half, and I thought that they were all pretty even, and I actually thought that all of them were doing fairly well in the first half. In the second half, I thought McCormick and Rainwater did really well, and Braun kind of tailed off.
So it seems like his energy kind of faded away as the debate went on.
A little bit, and even the things that he had to say were not as well thought out. I think McCormick did a really good job. She landed a big blow when he referred to her only having 4 years of public service, and she turned around and said, listen, I've been a teacher for 30 years. If you don't think that's public service, you might want to tell the teachers that.
One thing that I noticed that Rainwater was doing is every single time he opened his mouth, he did a good job of talking into the camera.
He did.
He made good eye contact with the viewer. However, every single time he was saying, my fellow Hoosiers, my fellow Hoosiers, my fellow Hoosiers. Yeah, we know.
Yeah. I don't know if that was a crutch to collect his thoughts, or, I mean, he did it so many times. I think it was probably thought out. In fact, I texted you. Rainwater, in my opinion, might have had the line of the night when he said, criminals don't follow laws. That's why they're criminals.
Right. Criminals are gonna criminal. Yeah. So we'll have Abdul in, and we'll see what he has to say. I don't know if I'm going to agree with him or not, but we'll get to that in just a little bit.
That's okay. Hey, this station was built on disagreements, so that's par for the course.
So was it last week? Yeah, it was end of last week. There was this big announcement about the nonstop flights from Indianapolis to Dublin, Ireland, which I think, hey, that sounds nice. Flights are going to happen 4 times weekly. But you did a little bit more research, and I'm somewhat impressed by this, Brad, that you think that there's a lot more to these nonstop flights than what we're being told.
I don't know if this is breaking news or you have the ability to connect the dots, but remember, nothing ever happens in a vacuum.
Yeah.
So we're going to preface it with that. But I thought it was very odd when they announced that that the National Airline of Ireland, now I can't think of their name.
Aer Lingus.
Is implementing a nonstop from Indianapolis to Dublin. I'm like, well, that's kind of odd because the only previous transatlantic flight we'd ever had was to Paris, and that ended in 2020. But I've never thought of Dublin as being the hotbed of places that people from Indiana want to go, and to have a nonstop go to Dublin, I'm like, interesting. Well, then, so that went on. They announced that either Friday or Monday, whenever that was. But then on Wednesday, the ports of Indiana announced that they have got an agreement now with the country of Ireland to ship in a lot more direct to Indiana container ships.
Yeah, so Holcomb signed this agreement with officials from Cork, Ireland, and they're working together on trade, environmental projects, and it includes this plan for this direct container shipping from Ireland to Indiana. Now, something else you need to take into consideration is that Lilly is expanding their manufacturing footprint in Ireland with a $1.8 billion investment.
Again, nothing happens in a vacuum.
So are we connecting the dots here? You think that all of this, these flights, direct flights from Indy to Ireland, have to do with the LEAP project and what's going on with Lilly?
For sure. And I don't even, this isn't necessarily a conspiracy. I do wish they would have been a little bit honest by saying, well, you know, Lilly is drastically expanding in Indiana. They are drastically expanding in Ireland. They've got production facilities in Lilly Kinsale, Lilly Cork GBS. They've got Lilly Limerick. And so they do a lot of manufacturing in Ireland for Europe, the European market. They're obviously ramping things up because is Mounjaro theirs? I think the weight loss drug. There's 2 or 3 on the market, but Eli Lilly is going all in. I mean, the LEAP district is basically built around their estimates that this is going to be the wave of the future.
Okay, so Lilly's global manufacturing, they do a lot of biologics, and one of their big medicines that they're going to be producing in Limerick is their Alzheimer's medicine as well. So they're expanding that footprint. And as they make stuff, they need a place to store it before it gets there. And that's where Ports of Indiana come in.
So good for them. I'm glad that we have this partnership. And we were talking before this started. Kevin, of all the people in the room, has been to Ireland like every other weekend, apparently.
Yeah, I've been a couple times.
So
what's the big difference?
Well, I thought of Ireland's very rural, and it's, you know, obviously a smaller country, and
it's about the size of Indiana,
right?
Yeah, and they rely heavily on agriculture, whereas I would say we rely on manufacturing and you know, real estate and stuff like that. Another thing I thought about was there's the whole Catholic versus Protestant kind of feud. We have that kind of history too, but over there it's still prevalent, oddly enough, and it's almost like a racial issue with them.
I don't get that. I don't know why you can't just get along with your neighbors.
Yeah.
And I will say that for the United States. I will say that for the Middle East. And I will say that for Ireland. Get over yourselves.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, but
so well, that's really interesting, Brad, that you brought that up. That all of these direct flights. I mean, they got to get these executives back and forth somehow, right?
I am willing to bet that they did a calculation on it and said, okay, all these people are going to be going back and forth. And Lilly probably lobbied for those nonstop flights, because otherwise you're flying to New York, you're changing planes. If you can get a nonstop, you can probably get there in 3.5, 4 hours.
And isn't it something how Eric Holcomb built that, how this is so wonderful for all Hoosiers, and left all of this other stuff out.
Yeah, well, and again, I wish they just would have been honest and said, yeah, Lilly has a big presence over there. This is going to facilitate their presence. But instead, they're dropping all these little snippets out there like they're unrelated. I know for a fact they're related.
Thousands of bottles of an antidepressant has been recalled, sold under the name of Cymbalta. And it was recalled due to the presence of some toxic chemicals that they found that contain this cancer chemical, which is used in rocket fuel. You don't necessarily want that in your medication.
No.
And I think, you know, maybe I'm a little paranoid on this, but this one kind of bothers me because a lot of our medicine coming from other countries, for example, China. And for people who rely on daily medications, that's very troubling. You know, we hear about all the microchips and how we rely on that. If you're somebody who takes medication on a daily basis, or if you're in need of it, and you're finding out that your medicine is coming from other countries that don't have the regulations that we have here, that can be a scary proposition. You don't know what you're ingesting. Something that's supposed to be making you healthier or better.
I've always said I want free trade for all, because in general it's bad business to poison your customers. it's bad business to bomb your customers. So the more trade you have back and forth, you would think that should make your relations better. For whatever reason, we have bad relations with China, and China keeps wanting to jerk with us, and they're doing this. If Trump gets elected and does the tariffs that he's talking about, that will almost insist that all manufacturing for things consumed in the United States are going to happen domestically, which they probably should. I mean, we saw the problem with the chip shortage when COVID hit, and the problem was we weren't making chips here. Now, all of a sudden, we're starting to make chips in North America again. I also think that, yes, if you don't want to have your drugs poisoned by China, maybe we should not be importing drugs from China.
Right. So between 2016 and 2022, our imports from China, pharmaceutical imports, listen to this number, it's staggering, have increased 655%.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's because they make it cheap. But there's a reason. One of the reasons you're seeing all these container housings units going up, it's because all the containers are coming this way, and they don't like to ship empty containers back. So that's the trade imbalance visual form right there.
Okay, so we've heard a lot from RFK Jr. saying that, he wants to make America healthy again. And here he was, this was 3-4 days ago when he was out stumping for Donald Trump.
And don't you want a president who's going to make America healthy again? And vote for Donald Trump. God bless you all. God bless America.
Okay, and so he was on Fox News, and he was talking about the different substances in our food. A little surprised that they let him go on. I'm glad that he said it. I'm just surprised that they, allowed him to say it.
Yes. Now, I know that farmers don't like to hear about the seed oils because there's a lot of money in agriculture that goes into seed oils, and I don't want to call him a crackpot. I don't necessarily want to give credibility, but I would like to see more studies on the matter. So I'm not willing to completely shut him off on this. It is a little bit out there because seed oils have been fairly prevalent in our society for quite some time now.
Yeah, for 30, 40 years now.
Yeah.
And he's saying that this is what is causing so many Americans to get sick, and with the inflammation and how it's leading to obesity and all the diabetes. And here he is on Fox, and he's talking about the seed oils in our food.
Why should people be worried about these kind of products?
Seed oils are one of the most unhealthy ingredients that we have in foods. And seed oils, the reason they're in the foods is because they're heavily subsidized. They're very, very cheap, but they are associated with all kinds of very, very serious illnesses, including body-wide inflammation.
Right.
Which affects all of our health. It's one of the worst things you can eat, and it's almost impossible to avoid. If you eat any processed food, you're going to be eating seed oil.
Right, and it's interesting, the government subsidizes it. Why would the government want to subsidize something that's going to make people sick, and then in the end, we all end up paying for that in terms of healthcare costs, which are skyrocketing?
Yeah, because that is a direct result of corruption. About 75% of FDA's budget comes from regulated industry, and that means food processors and pharmaceutical industry. All of them profit from a sick population.
Okay, so it's pretty difficult not to get some of those oils when you go to the grocery store because they are in all the processed foods and in the frozen foods and the entire chip aisle.
Well, it's interesting. When we were kids, everything was deep fried and lard. I mean, an animal fat. And at some point, the FDA came out and
switched it.
Yeah, said all these fats are bad. We need to go to canola oils and things. And now I think there's going to be a reversal, just like you've seen with butter and margarine. Frankly, I'm not against that. I don't know that the seed oils are bad, but I think that if you go with some, any sort of lard type product, probably that's going to work out better for you in the long run because it's more natural.
Well, she asked the question, why would the government do this? Well, there's also the reason that, sick populations are controllable and they're easier to make dependent on the government.
Yeah. Now, it's funny.
Could be a little self-serving?
Yeah, maybe. Now, about a month or two ago, Trump was asked about Medicaid spending, and he goes, we need to make America healthier again. And it's like, no, because the longer people live, the more Medicaid they're going to consume. So you're still going to have competing interests on that. if it's just a fact. If people are healthier and living longer, they're going to be on the government dime a lot longer.
You're listening to the Kendall Casey Show. It is 93 WIBC.
Galloway for a three. Throws it up and in, and a foul. For a three, yes. And a Bacco.
Mike Goodson has an exciting roster of veterans, transfers, and freshmen, and the Hoosiers start the season with an exhibition against 12th-ranked Tennessee in Knoxville. Sunday, John Herrick has the pregame starting at 2. Don Fisher with the tip at 3 on your home for IU basketball, 93 WIBC.
Hoosiers need a fighter to protect our jobs and our values. I'm Todd Rokita, your Attorney General. I fight for you, and together we win. Suing Biden because he's opened the border to illegals who are killing us, harming our kids, and driving up our taxes. Stopping federal bureaucrats who kill jobs and jack up our electricity prices with their failed Green New Deal that does nothing for our air and water. Keeping criminals behind bars where they belong. Recovering millions of dollars from welfare theft, fraud, and from opioid drug manufacturers, all to protect your health and your tax dollars. Creating the Parents' Bill of Rights so you can protect our kids from those trying to corrupt them while you're at work. Successfully keeping boys from competing in girls' sports and defending, of course, our pro-life values. And the Gun Owners' Bill of Rights so you can defend yourself and your family. I'm Todd Rokita, and with your vote this November, we'll keep fighting and winning together. Paid for by the Todd Rokita Election Committee.
Get ready to shake it off before the big show. Get your tickets to the Fearless Karaoke Brunch Fest at Nevermore Downtown on November 2nd and 3rd from 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. with a themed buffet, bottomless cocktails, and endless fun. Sing your heart out with karaoke. Create friendship bracelets and compete in our costume contest. Tickets start at $40 for the buffet or upgrade to the boozy brunch for $75, including unlimited mimosas, sangria, and Bloody Marys. All ages welcome. Tickets at swiftbrunchfest.com.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves. But don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Hey, Bill, where you been? You're overdue for a haircut.
Man, listen, my water pipes burst and flooded my house. Place a mess. I've been staying with my daughter till I can figure out what to do.
You trying to fix it and move back in?
No way. It's too big a mess. It'll cost me tens of thousands of dollars. I ain't got that kind of money.
You trying to sell it then?
Well, that's what I'd like to do, but who's going to buy my house in this condition?
Did you call Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters bought our house when we were in a jam. We needed to move real quick. They closed fast and gave us cash.
Simple Quarters will buy in any condition?
That's right. They buy as is. You don't have to repair anything or clean anything out. It's simple.
What do I have to do?
Just call them. They'll do a quick walkthrough, then they'll make you an offer.
Simple Quarters is a local Christian company that loves to help people in difficult situations. Call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME. Check us out at simplequarters.com.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
Play hard. That's what he used to say, right? And now, what? Drink hard?
Casey, you have to say it in the voice of Gene Katie.
Oh, okay.
Come on, play hard.
Play hard.
Play hard.
It is the Kendall Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC. That is the voice of Brad Kloppenstein, who is in for Rob Kendall today. So Sun King releasing a Gene Katie Play Hard lager. You want to know if this is going to be a big seller, huh? Here's my hot take on this lager. If you have somebody in your family who is a big Purdue fan or a big fan of his, it might be something to pick up as perhaps a Christmas gift or just a, hey, I was thinking about you. I know you were a fan. Try this beer, but will it go into regular rotation? No, I don't think so, because people are, creatures of habit. They like what they like, and maybe they'll sample something, but it won't become a regular purchase.
You're saying it's the next Billy beer?
I think it's going to be a limited time sort of thing.
Yes, I think it'll sell really well in West Lafayette,
Mhm.
although now it's going up straight up against the Boiler Gold lager that's produced by, I think, the Lafayette Brewing Company. So we'll see how it does. You're right. It will have limited appeal.
Mhm.
But, yeah, if you had that at a party, you'll know who all the IU fans are because they won't drink it.
They'll be the ones pouring it out. Right. So that makes me want to lead into this question. Your election night plan, will you have a election night cocktail, something specific that you'll be preparing?
So, yes.
Okay.
But typically it is a beer. Let me tell you. So at least back in the olden days, and this tradition started in about 2000. Me and Mark Rutherford, we would go to the Libertarian election night party, and then we would end up wandering over to the Chatterbox and hang out at the Chatterbox and watch the last of the results. And then our plan was we would go home by 10 o'clock. Well, if you remember in 2000, it kept going back and forth, and we stayed there till last call at 2:30 or 3 o'clock. And we're like, oh my gosh, we got to get back, got to go home because we got to work tomorrow.
Got to work.
So we did that Chatterbox thing for a number of years, and we haven't done it. But yes, I enjoy sitting around some other people and just kind of talking about how the results are coming in. And yeah, I'll probably have 3 or 4 Coors banquets and enjoy the results.
Okay, well, we'll see. Typically what Indiana's results normally come rolling in around 9 p.m.
Oh, before that, let's see. So the polls in Northwest Indiana and Southwest Indiana close at what is 7 our time. And usually at about 7:02, they will call the state for Trump. And
right.
So
7:02.
Yeah.
But then everybody will be interested in the governor's race.
Oh, for sure.
So you watch the debate, you listen to the debate, and we've got Abdul coming up in just a minute who's going to join us, and we'll get his thoughts on it as well. Okay, so but let's talk about the presidential race for just a minute. And you had Kamala Harris last night on stage with Barack Obama. That was the first time they actually shared the stage. She wasn't too exhausted to show up for that. She was wearing jeans. A lot of people were saying that she looked youthful and had a lot of energy, and other people were saying that it was not a presidential look at all, and it was totally inappropriate for her to show up in jeans.
I think fashion is changing, especially post-COVID. If you look back at the old presidential portraits, they were all wearing like ascots until the mid to late 1800s, and then there was somebody about 1890 that then did their presidential portrait wearing a necktie, and every president since then has worn a necktie. I have not worn a necktie myself in probably 3 years, if not longer, and I think it's just a matter of time before there is a presidential portrait that does not have a necktie.
Okay, so the New York Post came out and endorsed Donald Trump. They said, back to the future. He's the clear choice to put the nation on the right path. And then you have the Washington Post, who's not endorsing anybody. And there was an article that came out from some of their people, the staffers, saying that they think it was Jeff Bezos who was holding back any endorsement. You had, what was it? The LA Times? Is that the right one?
I think it was
the
LA
Los
Times.
Angeles Times. They said that they weren't going to endorse anybody, and their editorial editor resigned after that because the owner was blocking any presidential endorsement. I mean, at this point, the New York Post, yes, people were excited that they endorsed Trump, that they went out on that ledge, I guess. But for the Washington Post or the Los Angeles Times, people are already voting.
Right.
Like, at this point, who cares?
It's somewhat of a hollow endorsement, and newspapers' relevancy has fallen way down in the big scheme of things. So does an endorsement make any difference? Probably not one is going to make a big difference. If you start stacking up 3 or 4 or 5 endorsements, maybe it'll sway some opinions.
But isn't it just a little late in the game as well to be putting an endorsement out there for it to have any effect? Not that it's going to have much. It's kind of like, the actors and the musicians. So many people are fed up with what they have to say. And if you are a newspaper consumer, you kind of already know which way that paper leans, so you know what to expect from them.
At least in the presidential race, if you have not decided by now, that just means you plan on not voting.
Yeah. All right, Abdul's going to join us next. It's 93 WIBC.
Pacers basketball is ready to run it back and show the world that our time is now.
Oh, boy!
Turner with the dunk. Get ready to experience the most fun, fast-paced team in basketball when the action tips off at Gamebridge Fieldhouse.
Opening night presented by Kroger tips off when your Pacers meet the 76ers Sunday at 3:30. Lucas Oil Family Night tickets start at $39 and include a Pacers hat, hot dog, chips, and a small Pepsi product. Get your tickets at pacers.com/family. Pacers 76ers Sunday at 3:30.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Campaigning all over. Radar is clear, mostly sunny, 58 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Former President Trump rallied in Las Vegas last night.
This election is a choice between whether we will have 4 more years of incompetence, failure, and disaster, or whether we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country.
Vice President Kamala Harris is calling former President Trump a fascist, and a new poll suggests that half of Americans agree. An ABC News Ipsos poll out today says 49% of registered voters consider Trump a fascist. The White House rolling out another student loan forgiveness initiative. Fox's Jared Halpern.
If implemented, a new rule from the Education Department would cancel student loans for borrowers who were likely to be in default within 2 years. As many as 8 million Americans could be eligible. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona says the new rule would prevent his agency from trying to collect money it is unlikely to recoup, saying servicing and collecting on defaulted loans is not free and costs taxpayer dollars. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hi, it's T. Brian Hayes here from the Retirement Money Matters Show. It is Halloween season, and as you know, the main theme around Halloween is trick or treat. That is also a main theme right now in the retirement planning world. Join me this weekend as we discuss the many retirement planning tools, options, and strategies that could either be a great treat for your retirement plan or a very costly trick, depending on how and when you are using them. Retirement Money Matters Show airs this Saturday morning at 6 a.m. right here on WIBC.
Don't you deserve healthcare you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Indianapolis, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
If you recently lost health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Marcus when he lost his job, and Keisha when she turned 26 and lost her parents' insurance, and Elena when she went off Medicaid. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Are you concerned about rising property taxes? My name is Donald Rainwater, Libertarian candidate for governor in Indiana. My plan would limit your property taxes to 1% of the purchase price of your property. It would never increase, and it would end once you've paid for 7 years. To learn more about my plan to make Indiana government less taxing, go to rainwaterforindiana.com. My name is Donald Rainwater, and I approve this message. Paid for by Rainwater for Indiana.
This is Danny Reinhardt with Reinhardt Heating and Cooling. Give us a call for any of your heating and cooling needs. We're here to serve you. 317-745-4526.
Reinhardt is your trusted local independent American Standard Air dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
All right, so they all gathered together last night. Jennifer McCormick, Mike Braun, Don Rainwater. They had one last debate, and they were talking about everything from jobs to housing, education, property taxes, and everything in between. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC. Brett Kloppenstein in the studio for Rob Kendall today. And Abdul is joining us, so let's get into it. What was your impression of the debate last night?
I don't think the debate fundamentally changed that much. Now, when I say changed, I still think that Braun is sort of by default the front runner because it's a Republican state. However, if you're a Republican, you're sort of on the fence about Braun. I don't think Braun did anything to say, "Hey, this is my guy," and at the same time. If you're looking at an alternative, if you're a Republican, you're probably not going to vote for Jennifer McCormick. Probably not. But there's an asterisk mark by that. But if you're looking for a reason to not vote for Rainwater, I don't think Rainwater did. I think Rainwater actually looked kind of gubernatorial.
You think so?
Yeah.
I thought he looked scared.
I mean, And like I said, it's also in the eye of the beholder, too. Like I said, you're watching on television at home. We were actually there, sort of in the room, watching the monitors. We could see things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But I thought, I don't think Rainwater said libertarian things without sounding like a libertarian. If that makes sense.
No. Yes, it does. It does make sense. Now, it's funny. Last night, I'd said to my wife when I was watching this, I was like, man, I wish I was running this year. And it's funny, on the way in, I heard Tony Katz say the exact same thing. He's like, yeah, as I watched that debate, the only thing I can think of was, boy, I wish I was running and was on that debate stage, because I think anybody who was a decent communicator could have cleaned up last night.
Well, so that was kind of my impression about Rainwater, is he seemed to be struggling sometimes to articulate his response in full. I mean, he did start off every time by saying, my fellow Hoosiers, which became irritating. But that's why I thought maybe he seemed a little deer in the headlight.
Either my fellow Hoosiers, I've got 3 kids. I'm from Jasper. I got 3 kids from my business, or common sense, blah blah blah.
The same responses.
The same response.
Did you think that there were?
Actually, I think there were almost like 2 debates, because the first one things were sort of fine, but then for some reason at that half hour point, that's when they started kind of throwing the punches, and that's where I thought. Mike Braun, unfortunately, and I like Mike personally, don't get me wrong, but I thought Mike was a punching bag, because Jennifer would hit him in the head and, Rainwater kick him in the nuts. And it was like that over and over again for that last half hour.
It was like they formed an alliance to beat up against him. Did you think that there were any gotcha or zinger moments?
I would say the one moment, and I kind of sort of used my Twitter feed as sort of a barometer, when Jennifer talked about public servants, and Braun said, "You're not a public servant." And Jennifer kind of came back and said, "I am a public servant. I'm a teacher." And when you say I'm not a public servant, you're saying that thousands of teachers also aren't public servants. That, to me, was that was it. Because as Tony Bennett found out a few years ago, you piss teachers off and get them motivated, they will come out in droves.
Do you think that the debate was too late to move the needle?
Like I said, I think it moved the needle in the sense that if you were unsure about Mike Braun, he didn't give you a reason to change your mind. You were still unsure. And if you're looking for an alternative and Jennifer McCormick wasn't your choice, then I think Rainwater probably picked up. And I would not be surprised, and this is probably going to be heresy here, so Brad, I get away from that window because the lightning's probably going to come down.
I always assume there's a sniper with a gun aimed over here.
I would not be surprised if at the end of the day, looking at all the data points, that Jennifer McCormick does not walk away with the governor's race.
You think so?
Wow.
I think it's a distinct possibility because, number one, I ignore polls. Polls at this point don't matter. It is early voting. It's who's showing up to the polls. NBC.
But in regards to that, though, everything I've seen says the Republicans are leading.
Well, you see, but here's the thing, though. When I look at early and mail-in voting, there's a website I go to. NBC actually does. They do a breakdown of registered Democrats, registered Republicans, and in the governor's race, it's about 44% McCormick, 44% Democrat, 53% Republican. But here's the thing: not all those Republicans are going to vote for. You can't assume that every Democrat is going to vote all Democratic. Every Republican is going to vote all Republican. And remember, you got those 20% of those Nikki Haley supporters out there who will not vote for Donald Trump. And then you got the other people who can't stand Micah Beckwith for one reason or another. And so the question is, where do those 10 to 12% go? Because remember, in a three-way race, you only need 44% to win.
Oh, not even. So let me ask you, Casey and I were talking about this just a little bit ago. Do you think that the attack ads against Donald Rainwater are having an impact, or are they making him relevant?
Both.
Okay.
Because number one, and I get this, well, they were just tired of Rainwater's bullcrap, and so they decided to put those mailers out. But here's the thing. Why put out a mailer if somebody isn't a threat? Why bring attention to your opponent? You weren't here at the time, but Brad, you were back in 2007. I remember this like it was yesterday. I was at home watching television, and I saw it was an Indianapolis mayor's race, and I saw a Bart Peterson ad attacking Greg Ballard. When I saw that, I was like, okay, something's going on here. Somebody has seen something or knows something. Because why would my friends at State Party put out 5 or 6 different mailers attacking Don Rainwater over stuff that happened 20 years ago? And by the way, people who live in glass houses should be very careful about throwing stones, because there are some things in Micah Beckwith's past that raise an eyebrow or a unibrow or two.
All right. So,
which will be in the cheat sheet this weekend.
But okay, here's why didn't Rainwater come out with that stuff beforehand? Why didn't he get out in front of it? He knew about it.
And that's the big criticism on Rainwater is I think it would have been. I think had he known about it early on, like, hey, you know what? I've had some problems, some legal issues, some financial issues, just like every other Hoosier did, which I would have done that probably back in September and sort of diffused it. But sometimes in politics, timing is everything. But actually by waiting to do this and have it come out during the debate and or since the last couple weeks of the campaign, and people are on the fence and unsure, I think that helps.
What have we always said? It's never the crime, it's the cover-up.
It's not the crime, it's the lie.
Yeah.
Just ask Mr. Nixon.
Yeah. Okay, was there anything else that surprised you about the debate at all?
Like I said, for the most part, I thought for the most part everybody did well. I was surprised that Braun didn't stick around near the end, because they do sort of a post debate news conference with us in the media for about 10 minutes. McCormick did it. Rainwater did it. Braun took off and left. And so we're kind of wondering, like, why would you leave? Now, my good friend Adam Wren said, Braun's got a history of not sticking around. My theory is that Braun did not want to have to answer, because, by the way, the one person who was on the debate, whose name kept coming up, who was on the debate stage, was Micah Beckwith. And I don't think Braun wanted to deal with any questions from us. What about Micah? What about Micah? What about Micah?
But to your point, though, Micah was not on the stage. Micah is not running for governor. It was McCormick, Braun, and Rainwater.
Yeah, but Micah's become an issue. Just like property taxes, just like education, Micah's been an issue by some of the things that Micah said during in the debate and in the discussion as lieutenant governor candidate. And so the question is going to be, this is your lieutenant governor candidate. Do you stand by what your guy said? And unless you say no and make it a clear no, it's going to be an issue.
Okay, but you already said, though, yourself that he always leaves. So he wasn't acting out of character. If that's the way what he always does, he just was being himself then.
Yeah, but it's one thing to be yourself, but also remember it's the political context of, well, why isn't he here? Well, he always leaves, but why? I always speed, but I'm speeding out. It's one thing to be speeding to the grocery store or speeding with your pregnant wife. It's another thing to be speeding because you're running from the cops. So I think now, like I said, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens come November 5th. But my money is I would not be. I expect Braun to sort of squeak by. But I would not be surprised if Jennifer McCormick on January 3rd is like, Jennifer McCormick, do solemnly swear to uphold and defend the Constitution of the state of Indiana.
Okay, Brad, you got any more questions for this guy?
That's a big difference, because I know that the Braun is wanting that 50% so that he has a clear mandate and could work with the legislature.
Right.
Kiss goodbye.
You're not even saying that he's just going to win with a plurality. You are saying he might not win at all.
Yep.
Which is a very different thing. So, yeah, if he just squeaks by, that suddenly emboldens Rod Bray and Todd Houston a lot.
And it's a reminder in politics in Indiana, and this year anything can happen, and so would not be surprised if anything does.
So I think you might be living in an Indianapolis bubble.
No.
Though. You don't think so? When
No.
was the last time you were up in northern Indiana or southern Indiana?
Actually, I was in northern Indiana in court a couple weeks ago. Had some conversations with some good friends of mine up there who kind of sort of tied in to the political scene. Have a lot of contacts in southern Indiana, New Albany, Danville, Evansville, Crawfordsville, Richmond, and I keep hearing the same thing: is that in those urban areas where most of Indiana lives, it's a horse race.
No, wait a minute. Most of Indianapolis has 2.5 million, and the state has 7 million. So most of Indiana is not in Indianapolis.
No, that's it. In urban areas like Fort Wayne, like Evansville, like Richmond, like Gary, the Northwest Corner, and New Albany. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot closer than people think. Like I said, my money is still Braun squeezes it out. But I would not be surprised if McCormick pulls it off.
It's a way to hedge your bets.
Of course. That's how he sells the newsletter.
That's it. All right. Thanks, Abdul. Jason Hammer's going to join us next on 93 WIBC.
The victims of Hurricane Helene need our help. Go to disaster.salvationarmyusa.org. That's disaster.salvationarmyusa.org. From the Salvation Army and WIBC.
It's a bully that will not let up until you do something about it. And the worst part is that the bullying happens when you're at your most vulnerable. You might as well have your hands tied behind your back while that bully puts one hand over your mouth and pinches your nose with the other. He'll let up, let you catch your breath, and then he'll do it again. Sleep apnea is a bully. Not long ago, we heard our friend John tell you about how his bully was stopping his breathing in his sleep over 145 times an hour. Think about what that can do to your body's organs. It's no wonder that the snowball effects of long-term obstructive sleep apnea are heart disease, stroke, even depression and anxiety. But this problem is solvable, and we have solutions, and you'll be surprised at how simple they are.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. It's time to put that bully in his place. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
Piece of gold, peace of mind. That's why so many concerned Americans are adding gold to their portfolios. At American Bullion, we pioneered a fast and secure gold IRA process and can help you learn about and protect your current IRA or old 401k with the proven value of gold and silver. With dangerously rising unrest around the world, volatility in the economy, and upcoming elections, it's more critical than ever to consider protecting your portfolio with a gold IRA rollover. At American Bullion, our experienced team is here to guide you from A to Z. We do all the heavy lifting so you don't have to. Don't wait. Make the call. Protect your IRA or old 401k with our hassle-free and tax-free process. Call American Bullion today for your free gold guide and learn about all your options. Call 800-456-7475. That's 800-456-7475. 800-456-7475.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369.
Denny Smith here for Sundown Gardens in Westfield. Starting today, it's 30% or more off all nursery items in stock. You heard me right. Container trees, shrubs, and balled and burlapped items are at least 30% off. Visit the Garden Center for even deeper discounts. Looking to decorate for Halloween and Thanksgiving? Sundown Gardens can help you there too. Save 30% off interior fall decor inside Miss Mary's gift shop. Enjoy fall and save at Sundown Gardens, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundownGardens.com.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Get ready to shake it off before the big show. Get your tickets to the Fearless Karaoke Brunch Fest at Nevermore Downtown on November 2nd and 3rd from 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. with a themed buffet, bottomless cocktails, and endless fun. Sing your heart out with karaoke. Create friendship bracelets and compete in our costume contest. Tickets start at $40 for the buffet or upgrade to the boozy brunch for $75, including unlimited mimosas, sangria, and Bloody Marys. All ages welcome. Tickets at swiftbrunchfest.com.
When it's all over, join WIBC and Tony Katz for Understanding the Election in 3 Bourbons, presented by Premier Arms on Thursday, November 14th. Enjoy bourbon, cigars, hors d'oeuvres, expert analysis, and plenty of laughs. Tickets are limited. Get yours now at WIBC.com.
And there he is from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel show, Jason Hammer in the studio. So you were there. You were so close last night, but then it didn't work out for you, did it?
We bet the under on that Vikings and Rams game last night. That's one of the bets we had on our Degenerates Next Door podcast. And it looked like our toes were about to be tapping. Now, a lot of offense early, but then it petered out for a long time. There were 48 points combined on the board. And the Vikings had the ball with probably about 90 seconds left, about 1:30 on the clock. Good punt. They're down to the 2-yard line. So Vikings quarterback takes the ball. He drops back. They're down 8. He's got to go down the field. A Rams player grabs his face mask, spins him around, slams him to the ground. Now, that should be a flag.
Yeah.
It was pretty obvious. Everybody could see the dude's head spin around like he's got whiplash. And they've been throwing flags all night long. Like, there's nothing better than watching these games and hearing old Al Michaels get a little angry about the amount of penalty flags on the field. But they didn't throw in there.
No.
And they called a safety, which put the total at 50 points. And that's how Rob and I got beat last night.
Oh, that's not good.
You were yelling at the TV, weren't you?
I mean, the dude's head spun around clearly. It's so
You
obvious.
needed that flag. You needed it.
Is this one of those ones where the NFL is going to come back out like a week from now and say, yeah, our bad?
Yeah, we missed that call. Well, thanks. So just to recap, these are some of the bad beats, as they're known as, that I've taken in gambling this year. I lost a bet when the Minnesota kicker missed a 23-yard field goal and a 40-yard field goal at the end of regulation and overtime.
Okay.
I lost the bet when the most accurate kicker in the NFL, the Cowboys kicker, shanked one into the bathroom at the end of Monday Night Football. I lost the bet when a guy was running for a wide-open touchdown in the closing minutes of the Giants and Browns game and decided to slide down at the 1-yard line and not score so the clock could run. And I lost the bet when the referee did not call a clear face mask penalty and a safety was given.
Yeah, so a couple of kicks.
We're only halfway through the season.
Like, and I feel like those were the right plays.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like I was on the right side of all that, but, you know, that's gambling, man.
Yep, that's the way it goes.
New Degenerates Next Door podcast is out, college football edition, and then we've also got an NFL edition. We got picks on the IU football game on Saturday, big college game day experience. And Klopp, do you remember when game day came to Purdue?
I do. Yeah, the one and only time.
Right, the Kyle Orton-led Purdue team, and Wisconsin came in, and Wisconsin won that game.
Oh, I might have been at that game, and I distinctly remember Purdue hasn't beaten Wisconsin in like 25 years.
And the point being, this kind of thing doesn't happen very often here unless your team plays in South Bend.
It will be bananas down in Bloomington.
Have a good time. If you're going down there, if you're an IU fan, this kind of thing doesn't happen very often. So go enjoy it, soak it up, and ride it out for as long as you can, man, because these things don't go on very often.
Did you watch the debate last night? Did you listen to it?
So I watched the football game, and then after I was angry and started drinking about the way it ended, I watched the replay of the debate. First of all, friend of the show, Dr. Laura Wilson is phenomenal.
Oh, she the best at
she is
being a
the
moderator.
GOAT of moderators.
Yes.
Right? She is the absolute best.
She didn't try to make it about her.
No, she's been on our program and we've asked her about that. And it's her philosophy that I've got so much going on here. I've got to manage the clock. I got to get rebuttals. I got to get questions. You guys are the candidates. That's who people want to hear from, not me. However, David Muir in ABC takes a different approach. But
yes, he does.
No, she was amazing last night, and we didn't really learn a whole lot new. Senator Braun's going to be on with us to start our show at 3:06 today, and we'll get his perspective on this. But this is the third debate, and I think we already know everything there is to know about these people with less than 2 weeks to go, right?
Yeah. I think Abdul was just sitting here and he was making a big deal about the fact that when the debate was over, Senator Braun left and didn't take questions from the media. But he prefaced that by saying that's what he always does.
He never does.
Right. So he was just
But
being
see,
himself.
Abdul's doing that to make Braun look bad because he hates, like, the majority of Republicans now, right? He's all in on some of these lefties. So that's what Abdul's going to do. Fact of the matter is, Braun does that all the time.
Right.
And listen, it's not like we're talking about the presidential debate here where you're expected to do the spin room here. It's the third Indiana gubernatorial debate. We know everything there is to know about these candidates.
500,000 people have already voted. So what are they going to change their mind at this point with this third debate? And you brought up a good point. We had those two debates back to back.
Yeah.
That seemed like they should have spread those out a little bit and then maybe just not even had this
Right. Less than a 24-hour period from one debate to the other seems a little much to
me. A little
me.
excessive. So what do you have coming up this afternoon?
This afternoon, again, at 5:06, I think we have the best Delphi coverage of anybody in the city.
Yep.
Donnie Burgess and Guy Relford
Agreed.
together talking about
100%.
what's going on. It's Beer Sample Friday and Guys in for Nige.
Is this anything? Tequila is in the barrel. It's coming. We had Brett Glaze on from hiatus last week.
Let's go. Let's go.
Thanks, Hammer. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Looking for a fun, friendly alternative to spooky neighborhood trick-or-treating? Join us for Trunk or Treat. At Life Church, we're creating a safe, welcoming space for families. Enjoy a night filled with decorated trunks, tasty treats, games, and community fun, all without the fright. Dress up in your favorite costumes and make lasting memories with friends and neighbors in a cheerful atmosphere. This year, skip the scary and join us for a night of laughter and joy instead. Go to lifechurchin.com for times and locations.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick, she's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Franklin. The best dealers in the region. Hundreds of tables. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Franklin. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on?
Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Indianapolis, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
Tune in to the Absolute Retirement Planning Show.
When retirement comes about, we're now relying on what we have saved to meet those needs.
Sundays at 9 a.m. right here on 93 WIBC.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
Here's great news, Indy. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer no payments until 2026 for qualified buyers. Call Rhino Shield at 888-RHINO-41.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com. It takes everyone in the community working together to create a brighter future. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Visit liveunited.org to learn how you can help.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Donnie Burgess on the candidates for governor and what they talked about last night, plus why no charges will be filed in the fatal shooting of a teenager in Fort Wayne. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
More Americans keep casting ballots. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News is up to almost 32 million who voted early. 4 more states will allow that in person tomorrow, including Michigan, where former President Trump will rally tonight after going to Austin, Texas.
He's going to sit down with Joe Rogan for a podcast interview on Spotify, which should reach millions of voters, especially with young men, where Trump has been having a lead. Vice President Harris turned down the opportunity to speak with Rogan.
Fox's Mark Meredith in Traverse City, Michigan.
One thing we are going to hear from Trump today a lot about is about immigration while he's in Texas, and he's going to campaign with Texas Senator Ted Cruz while down there.
Well, despite Texas not being a battleground state, Vice President Harris will also go there today, with a big focus on abortion rights. But Fox's Jackie Heinrich reports from Houston.
Most voters who feel strongly about abortion have already made up their minds about who they're supporting the election, making pretty clear that Harris's strategy in this final stretch is less about pulling in undecided voters than mobilizing the base. In fact, ahead of her trip to this border state, Harris dodged answering how she would handle a top issue for undecided voters: immigration.
Next Tuesday, a week before Election Day, Vice President Harris will hold a campaign event in Washington at the site of the Trump speech, January 6, 2021, just before the Capitol riot. And nearly 4 years later, 2 New York brothers have been arrested, joining hundreds of others prosecuted. They face felony disorder and assault charges.
Federal prosecutors say Reynold Voisin was seen attacking officers with a crutch, stolen police riot shield, and a blue pole, seen beating and dragging an officer in one of the day's most violent assaults. Roger Voisin carried a two-way radio and GoPro camera on a stick, accused of attacking officers with a pipe and a nail-studded wooden table leg.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. A federal judge has just sided with the Justice Department, blocking Republicans in Virginia trying to remove 1,600 people alleged to be non-citizens from voter rolls. On Wall Street, the Nasdaq surged to a new record high this morning. It's currently up 250 points. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Talking taxes and immigration. It's partly cloudy and 60 degrees downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Your property tax bill will sway your vote in it for Indiana governor. At least that's what many say. Donnie Burgess reports on Thursday night's debate.
Democrat Jennifer McCormick, Republican Mike Braun, and Libertarian Donald Rainwater all introduce ways to cap property taxes while claiming they can still finance local services that you depend on.
It's ready to go. It gives relief to every single Hoosier, particularly seniors, renters, and veterans, and all homeowners.
My plan clearly put a lid on the bill to where it can't go up more than 3% for everyone.
Meanwhile, Rainwater felt his opponents' plans weren't up to snuff.
That's a lot of word salad. Neither plan from my opponents keeps property taxes at a static level, and neither one offers a way where property taxes end.
You can decide November 5th. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Mike Braun's running mate Micah Beckwith says immigration will be clamped down upon if he and Mike Braun are elected governor.
I love our communities too much to just let this open border nonsense policy that the Harris administration has allowed, and I'm not going to stand for it in Indiana. I know Mike Braun won't either.
Beckwith talking with WYBC's Tony Katz. It was self-defense. That's the determination by prosecutors in Fort Wayne and the shooting death of a high school student at a house party last Saturday. Willie Ivy III was the 17-year-old killed. Investigators say that it was Ivy who pulled out a gun and fired shots first before getting shot by someone else. No charges will be filed. College hoops start tomorrow with exhibition play. Purdue head coach Matt Painter expecting his younger players to get invaluable real game experience against Creighton in Omaha.
But also get into a real game environment. I think that helps a lot of your young guys that haven't been in that position before.
Indiana will take on Tennessee in a charity game on Sunday. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
Hey, diamond lovers. Shane Company knows fine jewelry. That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. When it's this important, you want someone who knows exactly how to work with your budget. Not against it. Someone who knows you deserve a piece more beautiful than you've ever imagined. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've always sourced our diamonds and gemstones directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. So many in stock and ready to take home today. Create your dream engagement ring in 3 easy steps. Or pick a perfectly preset ring that's created by our in-house design team. Browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts for everyone in your life, from diamond and gemstone studs to must-have tennis bracelets and beautiful birthstone necklaces. With our everyday competitive prices and unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company is your go-to destination for fine jewelry. Visit shaneco.com and come in to see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Reinhardt Heating and Cooling, your American Standard air dealer in Hendricks County.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, October 25th. It's 5 minutes after 11. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC. That is Brad Kloppenstein. He's in for Rob, who's got the day off today. So yesterday, Donald Trump said that if he wins the White House, he will fire Special Counsel Jack Smith within 2 seconds of taking office. I have no doubt that will actually happen.
It will be. It might even be in his oath of office.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Well, he'll be there with one hand up and the other hand on the Bible.
Right.
And he'll pause, say, Jack Smith, you're fired, and then go on.
Right. Before any of the balls or the galas even happen, that's what's going to take place. I don't doubt it. Of course, Jack Smith was appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland. I wonder if Merrick Garland will be staying as well, or if he needs to get his resume updated.
Highly doubtful.
Okay, so there's a lot of surveys that are coming out, a lot of polling, and who do you believe? Which one is true? I don't know. Spin the wheel and pick. This time it's the New York Times Siena College poll, and according to them, Trump and Harris are tied for, this is the popular vote, at 48% each. And they said that it's very interesting that they're still tied with everything that you've had going on during this campaign season. I mean, you've had the very high-profile debate that Biden was in. You had 2 or 3 attempts on Trump's life, dozens of rallies across all of these battlefield states, a lot of action in Pennsylvania, the Butler rallies, the Elon Musk, Antonio Brown, the McDonald's event that Trump had, hundreds of millions of dollars spent on advertising, and yet their poll has them both sitting at 48%.
Yeah. I don't know that a lot of people, they've probably heard of the Electoral College. They don't fully understand that the whole presidential race is all about the Electoral College. So the popular vote means nothing. It is a nice indicator of where people stand. But frankly, like Indiana. Trump is going to win Indiana by 20 points. Indiana's 11 electoral votes are going to go for Trump, and it doesn't matter how the vote goes. It's just going to go that way. But you've got states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, which are all kind of toss-up states. And they're the ones where the polls are coming in 48-48, 48-47. The election is going to be decided by those states because it is a race to the majority of the electoral votes. And, you got the vote counters. Everybody knows which way Texas is going to go. Everybody knows which way Indiana is going to go. Everybody knows which way California is going to go. But it's those key states, which someday I would like to have Indiana be in play beyond May. But we'll see. Someday we'll get there, and Indiana will be more important in this whole mix. But, on those national polls that just give you a raw number, a popular vote, that frankly means nothing.
Mm-hmm. So Real Clear Politics polling average and their corresponding Silver Bulletin Electoral College odds, they have Trump winning at 91%.
Wow. Well,
so
I would say at this point it's probably his to lose. Just the way things been going, the momentum. I did find it. Did you think it was interesting that Kamala took a day off when they're this close to the election?
I did. Well, you know what? They billed it that she was studying up for that town hall interview. I don't know if there's something else at play. A lot of people have been chirping about some big thing that's going to come out.
An October surprise?
Yeah.
It's getting to be late October.
Yeah. And, you have to consider the source, where it's coming from.
Like a P. Diddy type of...
Yeah, like that sort of thing.
Uh-oh.
But this is coming from George Santos. You remember the guy
yes, Lion George Santos.
Yeah, the guy who's no longer in office.
Yes.
So, you have to take that for what it's worth. Trump even alluded to something last night in his rally that he was saying that that's interesting that she was taking days off as well, this close to the election. So I haven't seen anything. There's been no big major, bombshell today. Day's not over. We'll see. But if she was spending a lot of time just to study up for that town hall, we need to review this again. This is the question was, what mistakes in the past 4 years can she point to, and what would she have changed? Do you remember this question and her answer to this? I want to talk about this again.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life or in your life in the last 4 years, that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I've made many mistakes. And they range from, if you've ever parented a child, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
Okay. So that was kind of some rambling weirdness right there. What mistakes in the past 4 years can you point to? She says parenting. Well,
she doesn't have any kids, does she?
She does not have any kids.
Right.
She is a stepmom, but they were like 15 and 20 by the time she got into the picture.
So they were mostly grown.
So she cannot relate to having a toddler, changing the diapers, doing the carpooling, and all of the events, everything that goes into parenting small children. They were already older by the time she came around.
Do you think talking about her tenure as a McDonald's employee would be considered a mistake?
Do we still know if that's true or not?
I would say the odds
we still haven't seen proof of that, right?
The odds are becoming less and less likely that was true.
Yeah. But then she went on to say that as VP, a mistake was that she worked very hard to stay well-versed.
She has people who give her a briefing every morning, so it's only hard if you're not paying attention.
So that's my weaknesses are my strengths answer. Is that what she was trying to say?
Well, she talks in word salad almost 100% of the time, which is very difficult to actually glean anything of substance from whatever it is she just said. But if she is saying it is hard to stay well-versed, that means she lacks intellectual curiosity, which is a problem.
Somebody asked her, it was a different interview, if she could name 3 things that were in her nightstand. And her answer was that she had been staying the past 25 nights in a hotel.
Kevin, get the bleep button ready.
No, I'm not going down there.
Oh, okay.
But seriously, I mean, that's such an easy question. Name 3 things that are in your nightstand.
It is, yeah.
And she couldn't come up with it. She said, I've been staying in a hotel for the past 25 nights. I haven't been home in a while.
So there's a Gideon Bible in there.
I mean, can you name 3 things in your nightstand?
Oh, easy. Let's see. I got a pair of glasses. I got a phone charger in there. I got a pair of readers. I've got a little notebook there, which in theory I would take notes if I'm trying to sleep, but that never happens. Let's see. What else is on the nightstand? I got a couple random business cards from people that don't need to be there.
Same with me. I mean, yeah. I can tell you right now, the phone charger, of course. I've got on top of the nightstand, there is the white noise machine. In the nightstand, there's the iPad. There's a John Grisham book. I've got my motorcycle keys in there. I mean, it's like, how hard is that? And she could not answer even the simplest question. She had to say, well, I don't know. I can't think of it. I haven't been there.
It's not a gotcha question.
No.
It is a, hey, we want to get to know you. Yeah, now if she said something like, well, there's an apple pie in there.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay, well, here is CNN. Boy, you think one day they seem to be really attacking her on her answers, and you think, okay, well, CNN is seeing the light, or they're coming around. And then last night she had that rally with Obama and Bruce Springsteen, and they were gushing over it. They could not get enough of it. By the way, I'll say this since Rob isn't here. Bruce Springsteen sounded awful. Awful.
Those fighting words, Casey.
He was singing Dancing in the Dark, and he was doing some slow down acoustic version of it. Ooh,
well, Rob has said that he won't go see Springsteen anymore because he does not want to ruin the memory.
Right, because he doesn't sound the way he used to. You're right. But here is CNN calling Kamala out.
When she doesn't want to answer a question, her habit is to kind of go to word salad city, and she did that on a couple of answers. One was on Israel. Anderson asked a direct question, would you be stronger on Israel than Trump? And there was a 7-minute answer, but none of it related to the question he was asking.
Uh-huh. So this is the same thing that we've seen all along. And then even NBC, Frank Luntz from NBC, he was saying how awful her performance was during that CNN town hall interview.
I think that clip illustrates exactly why Harris is in trouble at this point. And it's something that I don't understand why the campaign does not address. They asked her specifically, where do you stand on the wall? And what does she do? She goes and shifts it right to Donald Trump. Immediately mentions him twice within the first 5 seconds. She still hasn't closed the deal. She still hasn't said to people exactly what she would do. In fact, what she should have done in the opening of that town hall is said, I want to tell you what I'm going to do in the first hour, in the first day, and in the first week. And it's going to take me 5 minutes. So, Anderson, you're going to have to sit tight. Here's what we're going to do by 1 p.m. She didn't do any of that. She hasn't told the public step by step what she's about.
Let me ask.
Because she doesn't know what her plan is. She does not have one. Donald Trump saying, you know what? I'm going to fire Jack Smith within the first 2 minutes. She can't say what she's going to do by 9 a.m., by 1 p.m., because she doesn't know.
The few specifics she's actually given are things that she could have done.
Right,
by now.
already. Yeah. Already. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
When this election is over, we're all going to need a drink. To come to think of it, let's book that now. WIBC and Tony Katz present
Understanding the Election in 3 Bourbons.
Brought to you by Premier Arms.
Thursday, November 14th. And we're going to try and get the answers.
He'll then explain the bourbons that go nicely with election analysis. You'll get a cigar.
There's going to be bourbon. There's going to be food.
A cash bar. And stimulating conversation.
It's going to be an incredible night.
Get the details and your tickets before they sell out at WIBC.com.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information information by dialing 800-285-0395. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395.
Hey, it's Robin. I've put my name behind Garage Doors of Indianapolis for the past 7 years because they're a local conservative company that does quality work on time. In many ways, Garage Doors of Indianapolis is the perfect Hoosier. Recently, they helped my family in a garage door pinch by arriving on site quickly and fixing the problem right away. For all of your garage door needs, call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 317-875-4577. 317-875-4577. Or visit them at doorstoday.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
Are you tired of party politics? John Schmitz puts people over party politics. Schmitz will serve you and not the Washington, D.C. lobbyists. A vote for John Schmitz sends a message to all politicians that they serve you and only you. Vote early or wait until November 5th to vote for John Schmitz so he can start working for you. Schmitz can happen, but only with your vote. So cast your vote for John Schmitz. I'm John Schmitz. I approve this message. Paid for by Schmitz for Indiana.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves. But don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
Good morning. It is the Kendall Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC. My name is Casey. Rob has the day off, and Brad Kloppenstein is in filling in. Now, you and Jamera, you filled in for Hammer and Nigel.
We did 3 glorious days about 2 weeks ago.
Is that when it was? It was a couple days ago. And you had a guest on the show. And before we get into it, I want to air a phone call. We didn't have our voicemail segment because we wanted to talk to Abdul, but we did get this voicemail. And I think you got some splaining to do.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, all right. Here's the phone call.
I don't know if the guy that you're having on tomorrow, Brad, whatever, was he the same dude that had on the witch, the lady that's like really a witch that practices like, satanic black magic and stuff, that he was sort of normalizing his neighbor he was going to go to lunch with and, have a party with, and they were going to break out like crystals and all this kind of. That lady sounded like she was sweet and nice. She sounded like she was messing with real black magic, real magic. You don't want to mess with that stuff. Ask Brad, wasn't the Witch of Endor available? I mean, you better stay away from that stuff, man. That stuff is real.
Okay, so you did, and I was actually surprised because Rob and I had asked you, what do you have coming up today? Yeah. And you had mentioned that woman that you were going to have on as a guest, and I kind of thought, that's interesting.
Tabitha the Witch.
Okay, so what do you think of that phone call?
Well, apparently he did not listen very closely because this was Tabitha the Good Witch.
Okay.
She does not delve in black magic. She is more of a naturalist, and she celebrates full moons, and she does do crystals and that sort of thing, but it's all to use for good, and it's kind of her shtick. We did it because Halloween is coming up, and this is the season of witches. It's like, we know an actual witch, a Central Indiana witch. Let's have her on. And so, it was fun. I think Jim Merritt, who was sitting in with me that day, was skeptical. And by the end of the interview, Jim was even into it and having fun with it. So we did it to have fun. We are not promoting black magic. You are not going to be turned into a toad because you listened to the segment on WIBC. Now, if you want to be turned into a toad, I can maybe ask her if she knows a bad witch, and then we can make that happen for you.
Okay. Yeah, I think the guy needs to watch Harry Potter because there are good witches.
There are good witches, and we had on a good witch. Even in the Wizard of Oz, you had good witches and bad witches. So.
Exactly.
Do you normally dress up for Halloween? Is this a thing that you celebrate? You go robust?
Actually, the Greater Lawrence Chamber that I work for. We had our Halloween party last night, and I feel bad because I did not really dress up. And I'm just not a big dress-up guy unless it's for Oktoberfest, and then I'm all in with the lederhosen.
Mm-hmm. So Google came out with their top 25 trending costumes for Halloween this year. I don't even recognize half the things on the list. But number 2 was Raygun. Do you remember her? She was the breakdancer from the Olympics.
Yes.
With the green outfit. That's going to be apparently a popular costume this year. 11 on the list is a Chipotle burrito.
I've seen somebody dressing up as a latte, a pumpkin spice latte or something. So people get creative.
They also have a lot of characters from the new Beetlejuice movie and some other movies that I like I said, I barely even recognize half these characters. I mean, there's some classics on there like Wolverine and some Godzilla, but a lot of video game characters as well. Like from Fortnite and things of that nature.
Now, I would expect Donald Trump should be probably,
I would think so as well.
Because that one's easy to do. You need a blue suit, a red tie, and some funky red hair, and suddenly it's happening. So what about you? Are you a big Halloween person? Halloween parties, dress up?
No, when I was growing up, well, when I was younger, I had I specifically remember being Mickey Mouse one year with the plastic mask and the little eye holes, and you just sweat in there.
Right.
And we would have our pillowcases and we would go, around the neighborhood and get candy. But it was never a big thing in my house. Like my parents let me do the trick or treating, and then they would always have to sort through the candy and get rid of half of it. But growing up Catholic, I was always told, we don't celebrate Halloween in this house. It's not something that we put energy into.
Well, there's All Saints Day the very next day, so I get it. No,
I know a lot of people are really into it, and it's becoming a billion-dollar industry.
Well, it was funny when we were growing up. The plastic masks, where all it did was collect humidity on the inside.
Imagine the toxins and the chemicals that were in those things that you were just breathing right there.
Oh my gosh!
No, I mean I'll do. When my daughter was young, we would do the pumpkin carving, and she would do the trick or treating, but same thing. We didn't go all out and decorate the house spooky and all of that.
Okay. So. Now, were you one of the people who'd go out to the clubs when you're in your 20s and you dress as your favorite playmate or otherwise?
No, I didn't. That would bother me so much that Halloween became the sexy version of whatever. Oh, right. Sexy nurse, sexy this, sexy that. Like, why does it always have to be the sexy version of everything? In fact, I would always go the opposite way many times and have, fully covered and not participating.
You went as a nun. What was your favorite costume?
I went as a banana once. I wore all yellow and had like a banana nose that were glasses that had like a nose.
You could go to Purdue basketball games in that costume.
Weren't you Hulk Hogan one year?
I was. That was a friend's birthday party.
Oh.
It was a couple's birthday party and they wanted costumes. So, yeah, I went as Hulk Hogan, and the dude went as Rowdy Roddy Piper.
That's strong.
Yeah, that's strong.
Yep. So tell me what's going on in Lawrence. Like many other communities, voted for a 15% tax increase on residents.
Yes, so it's interesting. I threw this out as a potential topic because I don't think Lawrence is the only one who's facing this. So Lawrence is having a little trouble getting their budget together. But one of the things that Lawrence is doing is there's probably going to be a 15% tax increase across the board. And one of the reasons this is happening, the city doesn't necessarily need that money, but given that there's property tax caps, so 1% if you own your home, 2% if it's a rental, 3% if it's a commercial property. But in those tax caps, both your municipal government and your school systems are sharing that revenue. And if you are not capped at your tax rate and there's a gap in there, either one of those units of government could then increase taxes. But once once the area is at its tax cap, then neither one could increase taxes. Lawrence, I believe, is going after this increase simply because if they don't, the schools will then take it, and then Lawrence could never get it in the future.
Right. So if they don't take it, it'll be gone forever.
Right, exactly. And I think there's a lot
Use it or lose it.
Right, which is one of the problems why your property taxes get maxed out all the time. It's both units are like, we better get ours right now, otherwise those other people are going to take it, and it is a bad system.
Did you see America's oldest person passed away?
He did, a spry 115.
It was a woman, and 115 years old. She lived through 20 different presidents.
Yeah, I better count it up. I'm getting close to that. Well, not 20, but
yeah, she was born in 1909, and the first president was Taft.
Is Taft the one that still has like? No, there's somebody older than Taft that still has like grandkids that are alive. So somebody from the 1800s.
But she said that her secret to a long life was faith in God and eating fresh foods from her garden. She also said, don't drink and don't smoke.
Oh, I'm doomed.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show. It is 93 WIBC.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything, from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-291-0198. That's 800-291-0198. 800-291-0198.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
So where are the candidates? I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. There's just 11 days until the 2024 presidential election as the candidates continue to campaign hard. Both Vice President Harris and former President Trump will be in Texas today. Trump will speak this afternoon in Austin, while Harris will hold a campaign event in Houston with singer Beyonce. Former President Obama campaigning for Harris in North Carolina. That's where Trump's running mate J.D. Vance is also campaigning. The candidates for Indiana governor debated last night.
Two different groups. Get your facts straight before you say something like that.
I want to move on for the sake of time.
Healthcare.
So we're going to focus on our next issue. Thank you, candidates.
Lots of snippiness between Mike Braun, Jennifer McCormick, and Donald Rainwater. It was the last time that the trio will go head-to-head before Election Day. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Mortgage rates are down and creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving prices down. Maximize your home sale now with the market expert who delivers maximum money in less time, Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Dee and Andrew in Noblesville had to say about working with Mark Dietl. We were done with the rat race and ready to live the dream of buying a camper and traveling west. We needed top cash from our home to make the dream work. Thankfully, we hired Mark Dietl, who delivered big time. Our home sold for our asking price in 4 days on the market. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, DIETL.com.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Research shows smoking costs Indiana businesses $3.1 billion every year. It also shows that an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes would drastically reduce smoking, which could save lives, create jobs, and infuse the state of Indiana with hundreds of millions of dollars annually. Read the reports from the Richard M. Fairbanks Foundation at thepriceofsmoking.org and see for yourself how an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes can have a positive impact on Hoosiers.
Are you concerned about rising gasoline taxes? I'm Donald Rainwater, Libertarian candidate for governor. Hoosiers currently pay sales tax and excise tax on gasoline to the state. No one should pay two taxes for gasoline. So my plan is to abolish the gasoline excise tax in Indiana. To learn more about my plan to make Indiana government less taxing, go to rainwaterforindiana.com. My name is Donald Rainwater, and I approve this message. Paid for by Rainwater for Indiana.
This is Danny Reinhardt with Reinhardt Heating and Cooling. Give us a call for any of your heating and cooling needs. We're here to serve you. 317-745-4526.
Reinhardt is your trusted local independent American Standard Air dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
So where is Tim Walz today? Do you care?
Minnesota?
No, he's actually going to be in Pennsylvania, making a stop in Philadelphia, and then he's going to be going to Allentown and then Scranton, spending a lot of time there. And J.D. Vance also going to be in the Keystone State. But where is Donald Trump? You know what? I just got a text from Donald Trump, like I do often. Oh, yeah, he texts me at least 4 or 5 times a day. Oh, it's a fundraising text. But he said, I'm recording Joe Rogan's podcast today. So he's doing that, and then after that, he's going to be going to a rally in Michigan. And Donald Trump came out and said that he's planning to attend another college football game. This time, he's planning on going to an Ohio State versus Penn State game in Happy Valley.
That is smart.
Yeah.
That is really smart.
Well, those are his people, right?
They are his people.
Yeah,
you're
going to
have
fans.
100,000 people there, which I don't know how the Secret Service is going to control that, but that's not my job. So,
well, he'll be in Happy Valley, so another, spending more time in Pennsylvania. But I wanted to play a couple of ridiculous things that Tim Walz said.
Just two?
Yeah, because you know what? I mean, it's laughable.
It is. You had to pare down the list, obviously.
Yeah. So here he is talking about Elon Musk.
Well, look, I'm not going to waste all the time I'm in. I'm going to talk about his running mate. His running mate, Elon Musk. Seriously. Where is Senator Vance after he got asked the simplest question in the world at the debate? Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election? And after 2 weeks, he finally said, no, he didn't. That's where he's been spending his time. But that's it. So, look, Elon's on that stage, jumping around, skipping like a dipshit on these things. You know it.
So, my question for him is, have you seen yourself lately? Talking about skipping around on stage. Of course, he's referencing Elon Musk when he was in Butler, Pennsylvania, when Trump called him up on stage and he jumped up. He jumped like twice. And Tim Walz is saying that he's skipping around. That's what he does.
It is. He called himself a knucklehead, and he's not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But probably a harsher word than that. So I don't know why Tim Walz is commenting on that. I don't know why he cares or why he thinks that should be an issue, but it's Tim Walz, and I just don't know what he's thinking most of the time.
Well, I don't know if he knows what he's thinking, because here he is talking about a Trump pregnancy.
I know your neighbors, your friends, hell, our family members who are thinking, oh, I don't know, we can get through another Trump pregnant. We can't get through that. We cannot get through that.
He's right. He's right, and I can't believe he said that. Correct, Tim Walls. Donald Trump cannot get pregnant.
No.
Congratulations.
Makes me wonder.
Is he admitting he knows what a man and a woman are?
Yeah. What is going through his head to where he says we can't get through another Trump pregnancy?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you thinking pregnancy?
Nothing is running through his head. It's just the most vapid, empty candidates ever. Okay, so here's Kamala, and she's talking about what her job is versus what the media's job is.
My job and the job of the media is to make sure that all people have facts and have the right information, and then, of course, they will make a decision.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so shall we start off with having the right information and having the facts?
All people should have facts.
My question for her is, whose cocaine was it in the White House?
That's an excellent question.
We've never gotten that answer, have we?
No. In fact, that story's just gone away.
Mm-hmm.
No, not our concern any longer. Nobody will ever know. So when she talks about facts, she's the one who talks around facts.
Mm-hmm.
There are very few facts that actually go into anything she has to say. And it's funny that she would say something like that because she actually lives the opposite.
So I came across this audio and I thought it was kind of interesting. This is a woman in Missouri, and she's talking about a new brand of conservative.
Am I right to say there's a new breed of conservatives? I think I'm one of them. I'm not religious, though I have no issue with those that are. I am pro-gay rights because I feel like you should be able to love who you love. If you want to do your 420 stuff, by all means, go for it. As far as women controlling their own bodies, I feel like, for the most part, up until a certain point, they should have that right. I don't want men in the women's bathrooms. I don't want my daughters facing off against boys in sports. If you want to take a poke in the arm, by all means, go for it. Just don't make me do it. I am pro 2A. We love our pew-pews in this house. As far as border security is concerned, I think there needs to be a tight border, but I also think there needs to be an easier way to citizenship. For those that are law-abiding, that is. I am pro-school choice. I think that should be left into the hands of the parents. Parents need to be in control of their kids' health care. If you are a transgender adult, I have zero issue with that, but leave the kids alone. Mental health is an epidemic, and it needs to be addressed. For the most part, I am very live and let live. If this resonates with you, comment and tell me where you're from. We are in Missouri.
Okay, so she touched on a lot of different things. She talked about 2A, vaccine, cultural issues, marijuana legalization, education, border security, school choice, healthcare, and also mental health. The one thing that she did not mention was anything about the economy.
No.
And government spending and inflation, which time and time again, most people say is the number one issue for them.
So, well, it's interesting. She's talking about the new breed of conservatism. I mean, listening to her, she sounded very much like the guest that we had at 9:30.
Oh, libertarian
presidential candidate Chase Oliver.
I was thinking the exact same thing, and that's why I wanted to play that when you were here. Because,
I'm glad.
Because she even said live and let live. I thought, okay, she's not finding the right party all the way.
Yeah.
But what she also sounded like to me, a Democrat from 20 years ago.
Well, that could be too.
Yeah. Susan Beckwith is going to join us for the Mind Your Manners segment, and we're going to talk about some social media etiquette coming up from 93 WIBC.
Beer Sample Friday on the Hammer and Nigel Show 306. Senator Mike Braun scheduled to join us in studio. He'll recap the debate. Donnie Burgess, Guy Relford breaking down Delphi. We'll talk to you this afternoon.
If you are a single or widowed woman, well, the statistics aren't very pretty. You run into a far greater risk of running out of money in retirement than any man or married couple. Hello there, it's Terry Stacy, and the last thing you want to be is 80 years old, full of life, and flat broke. Discover the strategies that could ensure you never run out of money in retirement with Bill Demery, your retirement guy, right here in Indy. I know Bill, and I trust Bill, and I'm so thankful that he was able to help my mom, too. I don't put my name on any random Joe. But I'm here to say you can count on Bill Demery. Call Bill at 317-349-5212. That's 317-349-5212. 317-349-5212. Call Bill right now.
Hey, Bill, where you been? You're overdue for a haircut.
Man, listen, my water pipes burst and flooded my house. Place a mess. I've been staying with my daughter till I can figure out what to do.
You trying to fix it and move back in?
No way. It's too big a mess. It'll cost me tens of thousands of dollars. I ain't got that kind of money.
You trying to sell it then?
Well, that's what I'd like to do, but who's going to buy my house in this condition?
Did you call Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters bought our house when we were in a jam. We needed to move real quick. They closed fast and gave us cash.
Simple Quarters will buy in any condition?
That's right. They buy as is. You don't have to repair anything or clean anything out. It's simple.
What do I have to do?
Just call them. They'll do a quick walkthrough, then they'll make you an offer.
Simple Quarters is a local Christian company that loves to help people in difficult situations. Call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME. Check us out at simplequarters.com.
Piece of gold, peace of mind. That's why so many concerned Americans are adding gold to their portfolios. At American Bullion, we pioneered a fast and secure gold IRA process and can help you learn about and protect your current IRA or old 401k with the proven value of gold and silver. With dangerously rising unrest around the world, volatility in the economy, and upcoming elections, it's more critical than ever to consider protecting your portfolio with a gold IRA rollover. At American Bullion, our experienced team is here to guide you from A to Z. We do all the heavy lifting so you don't have to. Don't wait. Make the call. Protect your IRA or old 401k with our hassle-free and tax-free process. Call American Bullion today for your free gold guide and learn about all your options. Call 800-456-7475. That's 800-456-7475. 800-456-7475.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Franklin. The best dealers in the region, hundreds of tables, just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Franklin. For more info, visit centralindianagunshows.com.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves, but don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at lifelock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
This week at Sundown Gardens, it's 30% off container trees, shrubs, and interior fall decor. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Susan, looks like I'm... Brad, you know what we do around here on Fridays on the Kendall and Casey show?
We're nice and polite.
We are nice and polite. It is the Mind Your Manners segment with Susan Beckwith, and I know she's just running around crazy this morning, getting the kids off to school, stuff going on at the house. Susan, you said you're in your bathrobe right now.
Oh, my goodness. I tell you what, it is chaos, but it's the best. I know I will miss this season of life, and I'm just very thankful for coffee and the fact that it's Friday.
Yes. Well, you have 11 days left until the election, so I have to imagine your life is going to change one way or the other.
Oh, absolutely. So the countdown has been on. I think I could break it down not only by day, but hour, minute. I've got a little app on my phone. So I look at it every day.
Susan, I'm going to give you a little advice as someone who has been in your shoes. Win or lose, there is a letdown after the election. Just get ready for it because it is chaos now. Mm-hmm. And then like 7 days later, you're like, what do I do with my life? It's been scheduled for the last 9 months, and now I have to make this up on my own.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a couple trips planned, so that's good. We're, going to pack in a lot of good family time. We're going to go out to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and see a Sights and Sounds production. And so at a soccer tournament, I'll be down in Gulf Shores. So I have a feeling we'll pack it full of, other things. But no, the campaign trail has been great. It's been very busy, very full. So I'm thankful for my little community that's been surrounding us during this season.
Well, aren't we nice? We're just putting one more thing on your desk. Hey, do a segment with the radio show. And that's what we do at this time on Fridays. And you wanted to revisit unfriending people on Facebook or etiquette around social media. I can't imagine why, but I think this is a very timely topic, especially with the election so close and many people very opinionated this year. So what do you think? Unfriending people on Facebook.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good topic to cover. Social media has become so much a part of our lives, and a lot of people wonder kind of how to handle those tricky situations, if it's rude, if you ultimately feel like you need to, or, kind of what's the best course of action. And so I just thought it would be a good one to cover, and a couple things that I thought were really good that I read in pertaining to this topic that I thought I would start with. So the first thought I would have before you make that decision is, if you see that person in person, mm-hmm. and if you confronted them, or if they confronted you, really, like, how would you feel? Would you feel comfortable explaining that decision? And if the answer is no, I think that is what should give you potentially pause and, maybe consider some other options. So there is the unfriend feature, but there's also the unfollow, which is a little less permanent.
I know, like Facebook has the snooze for 30-day feature. I think right now that is a fantastic feature because it gets you beyond the election, and hopefully people will have their sanity back by then.
You throw the words right out of my mouth. I mean, honestly, I've used that feature so many times because, I have friends on both sides of the aisle, and, I want to maintain those friendships and those people that are very special to me, but I know that this time right now is really challenging, and I feel like, they're not going to be swayed, and so we're both probably doing that to one another. And so the snooze for 30 days is great. The unfollow feature is a less permanent situation. And then if you are not interacting with them, Facebook is smart. There are the algorithms. They'll start to put them less in your feed, at least for a time, which I think is great.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say before you kind of make that drastic decision, it sounds dramatic, but before you make that decision is if they were to do that to you, if they were to unfriend you, would that hurt your feelings? And I think that's another kind of just check before you make that ultimate decision, because, that sounds so silly that it could have long-term ramifications. But honestly, that has happened to me where I've gone and I'm like, oh, we're no longer friends. Mm-hmm. And it feels like it has impacted, the relationship overall. And so I just feel like before you make that decision, there's a couple things to think through. But ultimately, you do have the power to say who has a front row seat to your life, and that, if it is something that is really impacting you in a negative way, I am all for unfriending if needed.
So how do you handle it if it's like a cousin or an uncle or somebody who's somewhat close to you who might not agree with you, and you're just tired of hearing whatever it is they have to spew?
In that circumstance, I really think a private message can be a great tool just to send them to say, hey, I love you. We are family. I am grateful to you, but ultimately I don't feel like we're going to see eye to eye. And I just feel like for the health of our relationship, I'm making this decision. I think that is a great, potential opportunity there. I don't love it when people make this big announcement that they're unfriending or they're cleaning out the friends list. And then all of a sudden you're like, I didn't make the cut.
Didn't make the cut. I'm off the list.
So I feel like that's, not very tactful. So I would say just, handle it with a lot of discretion and a lot of grace. And, I think just trying to understand where people are coming from and approach conversations from that viewpoint is always a good thing.
Susan Beckwith is joining us for the Mind Your Manners segment. All right, we've touched on people that you see or family members that you know pretty well. What about people that you haven't interacted with in years? I recently did this, so maybe you'll tell me I made a mistake, but I was kind of unfriending people that I worked with a decade ago who I have zero communication with anymore. It was like one day at work, we stood around and followed each other, and I no longer really have a relationship with that person. And so why do I want them as a Facebook friend or in my social media when I'm not in touch with them anymore?
I think that's a perfect scenario when it makes sense, and there probably aren't going to be hurt feelings because they understand that, that you have sometimes friendships for a season.
Right.
And so that's great, and I've totally done the same thing. And I do feel like before you ever friend somebody that you work with, you got to really think about that. So, because I've had some friends that have then become bosses, and, so that's always a little bit tricky. But I feel like in the scenario that you're talking, it's absolutely acceptable.
So bye-bye.
Like for me, I've got like 21 or 2,200 friends. Clearly, I don't have 2,200 people I interact with on a regular
daily
basis.
Yeah.
But on the other
I
hand,
thought you were going to say 2,200 people I even like.
well, there's that too.
Right.
So, which at some point it would be nice to kind of thin it out and go with the people that I really enjoy and care about and spend time with. But on the other hand,
but yes, I feel they're very invested in your life, and I that's where I feel like the unfollow feature is a beautiful thing. So if you are not wanting to maybe see all of their stuff that you don't want to unfriend again, that's a great tool.
All right, Susan, we appreciate your time. What do you guys have coming up? I know you're super busy, 11 days until election. Anything you want to share with everyone?
So we're still hot on the campaign trail. The Braun Beckwith bus tour is going great. Actually, our little guy is going to be out there this weekend. So it's a complete family affair, just really a sprint towards the finish line. And we're loving meeting all of the Hoosiers across the state, and it's going great.
Good. Well, you stay safe while you're on the road, and we appreciate your time. I know you're super busy. So thank you. That is Susan Beckwith. You can find her Belle of the Midwest, Belle of the Midwest. And you know what, Brad? That's going to do it for us today. So thank you for coming in. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for listening. It is 93 WIBC.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy.